Good morning and welcome to our 133rd weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way this call works is it's an AMA, meaning you can ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions, personal questions. And the call is 3 hours long. And within a couple hours of the call being concluded, my wonderful team, what they do is they go to the description field of this video and they type up all the questions that everybody is asked. So you can get immediate access to all the questions. Now, the format I'm going to be using today is a little bit different, and I'm going to be giving away a prize, and I'll explain how that works in a second. I'm also going to be talking about 7 different topics today before taking questions, and I'll go through these topics very quickly. And those 7 questions are as follows. The first one is how to get a raise or get a promotion. The second one is the best investment quality to look for before investing in any company. It's one that business schools don't teach you. The third one is how to deal with politics at work, which is really, really difficult. You got to be careful of what you say. I'm going to teach you how to get out of certain traps so you don't limit your career through corporate politics. The fourth is how to control your emotions at work or in business in general. Now, the most successful people I've ever met in business are highly unemotional, and I'll teach you some of their tricks. Then I'll move on to talking about business law very quickly, just a high-level overview of what you need to know to protect your family when starting a company or protecting a brand. I'll go through it quickly, I promise you. Then I'll talk about number 6, how to ace your interview, okay, with a little tool to bring with you, the interview that nobody does. And the 7th thing I'll talk about before taking questions, and I'll go through all this stuff quickly, is I want to talk about NFTs, specifically the Topp Corporation, which issued a big milestone this past week on the 20th at 10 a.m. my time, which was baseball NFTs. And I'll also talk about how to mine cryptocurrencies from scratch. And of course, I'll take your questions on all those topics. Now, whenever I teach, I try to make it really, really fun. Like in my MBA degree program, it's like you're playing a video game. And I know it sounds out there, but we try to make it really fun like that. So I just got this made here. It's matte black, which is my favorite color. It says Haroun Education Ventures MBA. And I was playing MLB The Show last night on the PlayStation, and it's awesome. It just came out. All right, so let's talk quickly about how to get my MBA for free. One person will win it. I don't think I brushed my hair properly today. There we go. And I'm growing my hair a little bit longer, as you can tell. Only one person will win it, and we're trying something a little bit different. So we're kind of morphing into a broadcast studio. You can see the bug I put here. That's what they call it in the corner, a bug. So the way it's going to work is everybody who asks a question will go into a random draw, and I will tell you during this webcast who won my MBA. Now, I'll only pick people that aren't registered for the MBA program. But again, somebody on this call is going to win my $9,999 MBA program today. And so what I'll do again is I'll announce that later on today. All you have to do is ask a question. You don't have to ask a million questions. Just I'll pick one person. Okay. It'll be random as well. It'll be fair and it'll be fun as well. All right. Now let's move on to the 7 topics I want to talk about quickly before jumping into questions. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about how to get a raise or a promotion. Now, the system is different than you think. You know, when you're younger and you're in high school, if you do well in school, you keep your head down, you're proud of yourself, your parents are proud of you, etc., and life is great. But then what happens is you start working in the real world and you start looking around you and it's depressing because you find out that other people are getting a promotion or a raise before you are. And you might be thinking they're not doing as good of a job as you are either. And the reason is that the way it works with promotions or raises is you always have to ask for them. And I know it feels uncomfortable, but the best way to do it is to meet with your boss every 3 months, always. And ask your boss for feedback. Ask, how am I doing? Sit down and start off the meeting with something along the lines of, if true, I really enjoy being a part of this team. We've accomplished a lot together. That being said, it's I want to be able to accomplish much more and add more value to the team here. But it's very expensive to raise a family, as you know, here in this city, for example, if that's the case. And so I'd love to ask exactly, please, what do I need to do? What value do I need to add in order to get a raise or a promotion? And usually when you pick this meeting with your boss, the best time to do it, the best time to do it is after your boss says something very nice about you, like congratulations, great job on this project, whatever it is. And so every 3 months you sit down and ask for feedback. And by doing this as well, if push comes to shove and there's ever a round of cutbacks, which happens at companies, of course, the likelihood of you getting fired will go down quite a bit because you'll get feedback from your boss and you'll know what goals to work towards. So once you ask your boss about that in that meeting, what do I need to accomplish? Then the next time when you, a couple months later, when you accomplish those goals, or a year later, whatever it is, and your boss congratulates you and she or he is in a great mood, then you ask for a meeting. And during that meeting, you start the meeting off with exactly how I mentioned earlier with the How Am I Doing meeting, which is I love being a part of this team. We've accomplished a lot together. That being said, several months ago, we sat down and I humbly asked what I would need to get a promotion or a raise to be able to provide for my family and whatnot. And I'm humbled to say that I've accomplished those goals. I'd love to, if it's okay, please ask if you can consider me for a raise or a promotion now. You always have to ask. Nobody has made it to CEO or executive vice president in any company without asking over and over and over again, tactfully, of course, for a raise or a promotion. And it can be obnoxious for some people to even ask for it, but if you don't remind people of your accomplishments, they'll never know. And you can always start off a point where you're about to sing your own praises, so to speak, by saying, I'm very humbled that, and then talk about what you've done. And just ask over and over and over again, every couple of months or so, once you've accomplished certain goals that your boss or supervisor has set for you. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to discuss the most important management quality that nobody talks about. In business school, they don't teach you this. When it comes to horse racing, we always say that the jockey is more important than the horse. Always, because ideas are commodities, but execution is not. And so before investing in a company, what you need to do before looking at all the financial statements or looking at the barriers to entry or the total addressable market and all that stuff, what you need to do is you really need to analyze the management team and if they've been successful in the past or not. And if they're a brand new manager, like a brand new CEO of a company like a Mark Zuckerberg years ago at Harvard in 2003, if they surround themselves with a board of advisors that is very capable, like Peter Thiel at the time, who was the first investor in Facebook, or Justin Timberlake. That was from the movie, The Social Network. A little bit of dad humor, I'm sorry. I know it's a little bit early for that. But you want to find out if they have successful people investing them or on their boards. But in the private markets, it's quite different from the public markets. Now, I used to work in venture capital, and I also worked in the hedge fund industry and at Goldman Sachs in the public markets. In the public markets, we always say that past performance is not indicative of future performance. However, I think it's not that way in the private markets, because if you're a successful entrepreneur and you've had a couple of successful exits, meaning you've made money for your investors, and you've been able to harvest an investment for your investors, a return that is, then the likelihood of you being able to do that again for them is higher. It's higher. So the bottom line is always do your research on the management team before investing. Now, when it comes to publicly traded companies, what you can always do is you can go to glassdoor.com to do a little bit of research on the management team, and it's quantified as well. So let's go there together really, really quickly. All right. So if you go, and I've got new merch, by the way, on my website, if you guys care. All right. So if we go to glassdoor.com. Okay, cool. Then what you do is you just search for the company. So let's search for, I don't know, Salesforce. And then what you can do is you can read up reviews on the company, right? So right here, Salesforce has got a review of 4.5. And what you can do is you can even drill down and find out what people are saying about the management team even. And you can review salaries and whatnot if you want to sign up for this at the bottom. And obviously, when you sign up for this, you don't use your real name, you use a nickname. Okay. So anyway, check that out if you get a chance. The CEOs are all ranked, rated, etc. Reviews, all that good stuff. Okay, great. So right here, for example, for Mark Benioff, and it just jumped on me there, but 97% of people that work at Salesforce have positive things to say about Mark Benioff. And again, just sign up there for free. There we go. It's 97%. You guys get the idea. Okay, so and what you can also do is you can go to the annual report and you can read up on the management team and what their backgrounds are. So for example, when you go to the annual report for a company, in the United States at least, what you do is you go to sec.gov. And then right here, you type in the ticker or the name of the company. In this case, it's Salesforce. And then you're going to look for what's called the annual reports, okay? And then just search through the management team here. Like, for example, Benioff, he should be in here, right? Benioff. Here we go, right here. And there's a bit of a write-up. I'm sorry I'm covering it up in the corner there, but there's a write-up on the entire management team. It even has their age and how much money they make and all that stuff, right? So you can read up on who these people are and why these are great managers, etc. Another thing you can do when doing background checks on a manager, if it's a smaller company, is what you can do is you can go to LinkedIn and find people that have that manager in common with you or that whoever that person is and just ask them for feedback. Or better yet, scroll down on their LinkedIn profile and look to see what the reviews are of this person. Okay, so, and if you don't have reviews written about yourself, please do so immediately. It will help you in business a lot. So if we go to LinkedIn right now and we go to, I guess I'll go to me, Chris Haroun. People pronounce it heroin sometimes too, eh? But if you scroll down, you'll see a bunch of reviews written about me. Some of them I've asked for, some I haven't. And if you worked for a couple of years, you need to have at least 15 reviews. And you'll find that the most successful CEOs or entrepreneurs that do well, they ask for reviews. Ask and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. So the bottom line is, before investing in any company and before doing your due diligence or research on a company, meaning the financial statements or anything else, I want you to look at the quality of the management team, because the jockey is always more important than the horse. All right, let's move on now to politics at work. Politics at work occurs in every single company. The bigger the company, the more bureaucratic, kind of like a big government agency, so to speak. And so sometimes you'll have people in companies that will ask you questions, and they'll kind of bait you. They'll try to bait you, like fishing, bait you with their poisonous politics. And so before answering a question where the answer might hurt you, instead of saying I agree or disagree, what you can say are two words. And this works in different aspects of life too. And those two words are this: I understand. You're not saying I agree or disagree with you. You're just saying I understand. It's easy. It's easy. And this way you can't get baited into poisonous politics. So try it out at your company. If you have a shark or you swim amongst sharks in your company, when they try to bait you with their poisonous politics, just say, I understand. Okay. Next up, what I want to talk about is I want to discuss controlling your emotions at work. I found that the most successful people in business are highly unemotional. You know, they don't get too happy when things go well. And that's a good thing, because they don't freak out when things don't go well. And so I found that I've worked in the hedge fund industry, and there's certain billionaires I've worked for. I'm not going to name which ones. But when things go incredibly well and one of our companies in our portfolio gets acquired and the rest of us are high-fiving, the billionaire founder is kind of like, okay, good, whatever. They're unemotional. And that's a good thing because, like in the previous graphic I showed you, if they're unemotional when things are good, then when things are bad, they're also going to be unemotional. And you want to be a contrarian in business. You want to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy, to quote the great Warren Buffett, of course. And it's tough. It's really, really hard, especially when you start your own company. The highs and low, dude, are extreme. They're extreme. And there's this guy I met named Horowitz. He works at Andreessen Horowitz, Ben Horowitz. And he said in venture capital that quite often in the first 2 years of a company being started, there are a number of whiffio moments. And whiffio stands for where beep, it's over. And when you get those whiffio moments, you just can't freak out. And it's interesting because when you look at the stock market, the worst investors, meaning many investors, the worst investors are the ones that get really emotional as well. And Warren Buffett once said that, and you got to be unemotional. That's my unemotional emoji. Warren Buffett once said that the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. Selling something you love because it's cheaper. You have to be unemotional in business to be very, very successful. The next topic I want to talk about is I want to briefly talk about business law. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm going to give you the high-level stuff to keep in mind and a resource to go to get more details if you want to talk to a lawyer for a very, very low price, any kind of lawyer. So the first thing I want to talk about is when you're starting a company, I want you to register that company. It might be as an LLC, meaning a limited liability corporation, so that your liabilities are limited. Or it might be another type of entity. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I want you to talk to a real one. And I want you to register your business so that, God forbid, if something goes wrong, people can't sue you or your family and take your goods away. It can destroy your lifestyle. One stupid little lawsuit. So I want you to talk to a lawyer, get your business registered first, okay? And once you start getting even more successful, people are going to come after you anyway. It's just the nature of the game, and you want to be protected. So talk to a lawyer first, and I'll tell you how to do it in a second. All right. I also want to talk about how to protect your intellectual property in 60 seconds. So intellectual property refers to protecting the contents of your company, the brand name, etc. And there's a couple things to do. Number one, you want to protect your brand name, meaning the name of your company, and that's called a trademark. You also want to protect the way you do something, right? And so years ago, Amazon patented one-click shopping. Okay. The last kind of protection you can think about getting is copyright. So for me, my courses are copyrighted, and copywriting is something you do for code, for movies, for books, media, etc. And the best way to do all of this is to go to a website. And I'm not ever going to be sponsored by anybody. Please, you all know that. I put the student first. But the best way to do it is to go to a website. And that website is called LegalZoom. And I use them all the time. And for personal legal matters, it's $15 to talk to a lawyer for half an hour. For business issues, it's $30 for half an hour, which is a great deal. And you can talk to any kind of lawyer you want to. Now, I think it's a 6-month contract you got to sign, but you can click through to talk to a lawyer that specializes in intellectual property or wills and trusts, which every family should have, as well as business formation, meaning LLCs or whatever it might be. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I want you to go to this website and set up a call with a lawyer if you haven't yet registered your company name or if you haven't protected your intellectual property. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about before taking your questions, we're almost done here with the beginning part of the show. And give me feedback too. I'd love to hear your feedback on if you like this new format or not. I'm trying to make it more engaging and entertaining. We're going to be adding music, moving cameras, etc. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is I want to discuss how to ace your interview and what to bring. Now, a lot of people ace their interviews by thinking differently and bringing a bunch of different items. Now, in my courses, I have one called the Complete Job Course. I provide you with 12 templates that you can bring to interviews to help your interviewer, because your interviewer is motivated by three things. They want to make more money, they want to get promoted, or they want to enjoy their work. And so the templates I have, my Complete Job Course, will help you with helping the person you're meeting with get one of those three goals, or two or three of them actually. Remember, you have to give and then you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Now, I've got a book right there for a reason. I want you all to write a book, and I'm going to provide you with a template to do it. And imagine going to an interview, and during the interview, you pull out a book that you wrote. It's easy to do. Or imagine going to a sales meeting with a potential customer, and you bring a book as well. It's really easy to do. And big shout out to one of my great students, Benjamin Bergen. He just published this book called The Bitcoin Defect. Benjamin, thanks again for sending this to me. I appreciate it. I'm going to show you all how to create a book, and it costs you nothing. And all of my books I created in the format I'm going to show you, meaning 6 inches by 9 inches. Okay, so what you do is, and you don't have to give me your email address or anything, but you go to my website and you download my book template. Here it is here. So you go to harounventures.com/writebook, and that's all one word. Okay, harounventures.com/writebook, all lowercase. And you click here to download the template. And if you know how to use Microsoft Word, you can write a book. It's really, really easy. Now, let me scroll out a little bit here. So this here is the template for the entire book. And once you finish writing it, all you do is you right click in Word on the table of contents to repaginate. I think that's the word, yeah. And the only instructions you need are right here on the first page I provided for you, okay? So this will tell you how to get it published on Amazon Kindle, Amazon Print, as well as Audible, which you go through ACX. And then if you want to pay a couple dollars to somebody at Fiverr.com, that's Fiverr.com, they can create a cover for the book for you as well. It costs you nothing, and your competition is not doing this. All right. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I want to discuss NFTs, meaning non-fungible tokens, and what this means. And then I'll show you how to mine cryptocurrencies as well. And if you have questions, let me know. I'm actually going to pull up my cryptocurrency mining computer here in a second to show you. Now, NFTs, it's kind of like it's like a limited edition digital asset. And so, you know, when you buy a painting and it's a print, and in the corner it says number 3 out of 300, whatever it is. Well, there's a dearth of supply on that, and it makes it could go up in value because there's a limited supply. With NFTs, it's kind of like that, but you're buying a digital version of a piece of art or a baseball card, whatever it might be. And it's a new concept, but people that have been collecting baseball cards for years love it because they can now own baseball cards online or any sports cards. And I'm going to show you what happened this week with the Topps Corporation. So Topps is the largest sports trading company in the world. And so what they did this past week was they issued baseball card NFTs. And I'm going to show you how the process works. And this all runs on blockchain as well. And so a lot of NFTs, when you buy them, it runs on the Ethereum blockchain. And in a second, I'm going to show you how I mine Ether, which is on the Ethereum blockchain. But before we go there, let's talk about Topps and what they did this week. So you go to Topps.com, and this will help you understand NFTs as well. So Topps is a great sports trading company. I've been collecting cards since I was a kid. And so right here, you can see you can shop for NFT digital collectibles. And some of these things are going to be worth a fortune as well. And so they released their first collection this week, and it sold out very, very quickly. And so you see right here, you can buy baseball cards, $5. I know it's crazy for a pack, or right over here on the right side, $99 for a rare pack with a bunch of cards, whatever. So the sale ended on these. So what you can do is you can trade in secondary markets. And there's one called Atomic Hub, NFT Hive, and Wax Stash. And so when you click on these here, you can actually buy them. secondhand if you want to. It's kind of like eBay for baseball cards, but it's digital. And so just for fun, what I want to do is I want to search for Mike Trout. Okay, so he's the most popular baseball player right now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort from lowest price to highest price. Okay, go. And the price here, the lowest price here is $27. It was much higher on earlier this week when they released them. But you can buy this digital asset here and have access to it forever by buying it right here. And the way you do it is you can actually create your own wallets. Okay, it's a cloud wallet. There's a company here called Wax Cloud. And let me see if I can log in, if I can get through CAPTCHA here. All right, hold on. Log in. And it's not that robust either. It asked me for my code as well. That'll take too long to get. But there's other places where you can buy them as well. So there's two other platforms, NFT Hive, and then the other one you saw a second ago on the left of that button called Atomic Hive. And you can buy Pokemon cards or whatever it is you collect here and get rights to it forever. You can also buy these on eBay as well, the digital rights for them. So that's something that the Topp Corporation released this week. It's an exciting brand new market. And if you have questions on NFTs, please let me know. I think the easiest way to understand it is looking at baseball cards. Okay, let's move on now to talking about how to mine cryptocurrencies. So I've been mining cryptocurrencies for years, since I think 2013 or so. So the way to do it is you can either buy a machine like this, which is called an ant miner, okay? And these things here, these machines, what they do is they're just for mining one crypto. They're called ASICs. It's a special machine that does one thing. And I used to mine Bitcoin with them. Or what you can do, if it's not that competitive to mine a certain crypto, what you can do is you can build your own computer. And I'm going to show you that right now. So I've built my own computer, and I'm going to show you mining Ethereum, or Ether, I should say, on the Ethereum platform in real time. Okay, so let me get the computer here. All right, so this here, and let me just raise up my desk a little bit here. All right, so this right here is I'm mining Ethereum. And the most important part, and if you want, you can see me mining real time by going to that website that I listed there. But what the most important part of mining cryptocurrencies is always the graphics card. And video gamers hate cryptocurrency miners because cryptocurrency miners, when cryptos go up a lot, they buy more of these graphics cards, right? It's friction-free capitalism at its best. And graphics cards, you can't find them right now, right? Because all cryptocurrencies are soaring. If you want to buy one, you're going to pay 2 to 3 times the price of it brand new. There's just been a global shortage of chips and other components because of this. So what you do when you're building a computer is you basically look at the graphics card, and everything else you buy the cheapest components if you possibly can. And let me just show you what's inside this thing. I'll turn this sideways. Here we go. Yeah. So the reason why you've got a computer frame here on the outside is because these things give off a lot of heat. You want to make sure your kids aren't close to them. They give off a lot of heat. And so by having an open concept computer like this, they don't get as hot. Okay. And so you've got the power supply over here, which is like your heart. Okay, and you want to get this from a reputable brand always, because you don't want to start a fire, right? And so this powers everything else you see here, including this thing down here called the motherboard, which is tricky to see, as well as, of course, the graphics card over here. And you buy the cheapest processor you can get on here. It's hard to see, but I've got a processor here, like an AMD, a cheap one. But you buy a great graphics card, and all you need is like 4 gigs of RAM. And when you put this thing together, you can either use Linux or you can install Windows. And I installed Windows on a little USB stick right here. Okay. Then you hook up a cheap mouse to it, whatever. And then you have to get, it's just so stupid, but you have to get a little power button as well. And I have it set up so that when the power goes off my heart, sorry, it won't go off my heart out, in my house, what happens is this automatically restarts and starts mining again. So let's actually go and take a look at me mining this. All right, so you can go to that website if you want to actually access this mining computer. But let me go there with you. So let's go over here, and I'm going to go and type here. So you go to harounventures.com/crypto. So harounventures.com/ all lowercase crypto. Right there. Good. Okay, cool. And if you want, you can get my complete cryptocurrency course here, or my MBA degree program where I have a more updated version of the crypto course. Or click right here, right now. Go here with me, actually, because I'm going to show you this computer mining. Okay. And let me make sure. I don't think I switched over. I had a senior moment here. It happens, guys. Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. So go to harounventures.com/crypto. Okay. And let me go there with you again. Sorry about that, guys. harounventures.com/crypto, all lowercase. Then click right here. Okay. Or you can get my crypto course here, or my MBA program here, which has a more up-to-date version of the crypto course. But if you click here, go there with me, you can see that I'm mining Ethereum right now, or Ether, which is on the Ethereum platform. And the way it works is you look at what's called the hash rate. Okay, and this hash basically means mining. So this card is currently in real time hashing or mining at this rate right here. Okay, and right now in my account, I've got $97 worth of Ethereum. And once I get to 0.2 Ether, I should say, right? Ether is on the Ethereum platform. Once I get to 0.2 Ether, then I'll get paid out $500 or whatever it is. And it'll automatically get sent to me to my public key, which is right here for my Ether wallet on Coinbase. It'll automatically get deposited. And so it's really easy to do this. All you do is after you build this computer, which I'll explain quickly in a second, all you do is after you build this computer, you go to this web address here. You go to ETH for ether.nanopool.org and download a tiny piece of software and throw it on here, and that's it. It's that easy. There's a couple of parameters you have to put in, which I explain in my course in a lot of detail. But that's it. That's all you need to do. Now let me show you how to make this computer. I'll show you what websites to use. Give me 1 second to put this down on the ground here. And always have a fire extinguisher, because I promise you, you will start a fire at some point, as I've done, unfortunately. And the best one to get is always these things here, because your kids can pick them up too, and they know how to use this because, you know, Fortnite, instead of the old ones, which are heavy and they freak out, they don't know what to do if there's a fire. Get these things in your kids' room, the kitchen, etc. So the way to go about building a computer is if you take my complete cryptocurrency course, and again, there's an updated version of this in my MBA degree program. What you do is there's a ton, and this Excel spreadsheet comes with it. So when you take my courses, I teach you Excel as well. It's fun. But you click here on this spreadsheet, and you scroll down to mining. Okay, and then what you do is you go to a website called CoinWars. And CoinWars will help you understand if you should be mining cryptocurrencies or not where you live based on the price of electricity, which I'll show you in a second. So you go here to mining calculators. And then what you're going to do is you're going to select the cryptocurrency that you want to mine. So in this case, it's Ether or Ethereum. And what you do is you enter in the hash rate of your graphics card. You always start with this. So with mine, let's just say it's 50. Okay. And then the cost of electricity, let's say for me, it's 10 cents. And it's actually quite cheap for me because I have solar on the roof and all that. But the price of electricity is closer to 15 cents on average across America. Then you're going to enter in the power consumption of that. Remember, I showed you the heart, the power module there. And so the power consumption, for me, I think I use about 700 watts. And then you're going to take off one here for a pool maintenance fee. Make sure I'm not covering that up. Yeah. Actually, let me get my face off in the corner here and show you. All right. Here we go. Good. Yeah. So you enter in the hash rate, then you enter in your power consumption, then the cost of electricity in kilowatts per hour where you live. I'll get to this in a second for more details. And then the maintenance, the pool fee. So when I'm mining cryptos, what you just saw with that Nanopool website, I have to pay a 1% fee to the pool. I'm mining with other people. So I'll click here, calculate mining profit. And so for me, in this hypothetical example, I would make a $1.50 per day, which is not that much. Because it takes a while also to break even on the computer, which will cost you around $1,000 these days to do. And the way to find out what the cost of electricity is where you live is you just do a search for a kilowatt hour by country. All right, by country. And you find your country here. And every region in countries have different rates as well. So in Germany, it's not very profitable to mine cryptocurrencies because it costs you 36 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, but if you scroll down, you'll see that if you live, for example, in Turkey, it's 9 cents per kilowatt hour. And a lot of countries are making mining cryptos illegal, like Russia, because cryptocurrencies are the biggest threat to national security. I can talk about why if you're interested. Now let's talk about how to actually make a computer. Okay, so what you do is you go to a website called PC Part Picker. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start a new system and add a bunch of parts. And the great thing about this website is it'll tell you if these parts are compatible or not. And then once you've selected all the items, and make sure your graphics card is great, but everything else is cheap except for the power adapter, okay? Once you've done all that, you can find out the price, right? But the issue is now that you can't even get prices at this point for a lot of graphics cards. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. And if you have questions about this or any of the topics that I mentioned, please let me know. All right, cool. All right, yeah, and as I mentioned, cryptocurrencies are the biggest threat to national security because the biggest power that a lot of countries have is the ability to actually print money, and countries don't run like businesses, right? They don't try to be profitable, and so countries can't make enough money from collecting taxes. So what they do is they buy and sell bonds, and by doing so, they change the interest rate on their currency. Now, if all of a sudden, and this is very extreme, but if all of a sudden every person in a country wanted to buy cryptocurrencies and not their own paper-based fiat currency, then the government would go bankrupt. They wouldn't be able to defend themselves or do big public works projects, etc. So if you have additional questions about this, please let me know, and thank you. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the scene here. And I'm using these pedals here. They're called, it's called DMX. Nothing to do with the rapper, God bless him. But they're called DMX lighting. And I've hooked them all up together with pedals. And this is how I control all my cameras and everything as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn off this screen behind me, which is a short throw projector. And I got the idea from watching The Mandalorian. And then I'm going to turn on behind me some other lights. Please work. Hey, there we go. Okay, great. Excellent. Excellent. And when you do these webcasts, if it gets hot, and the way to put on makeup, I'm going to go there quickly, is there are these things here that you can buy called oil control film. And you just kind of wipe your face off a bit. And every person in movies, on television, etc., they use this stuff. And then what you do is you just get a little bit of powder on your face, which I put down over here. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so now let me start taking questions. Thank you. I will announce who the winner is very, very soon of the $999 MBA, my MBA program. So one person on this call is going to get it for free today. Okay, time for questions. All right. The first question I've got here is from Patrick. Wow, you posted that late last night. Thank you. Patrick wrote, glad that I'll be attending this great session today. I'm glad you're here as well. Thank you, Patrick. E. Pronto is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning. I'm continuing on the MBA journey, and I'm finding myself up and down. I'm spending 2 hours before the day starts. It shows how your classes motivate me. Awesome. I have a private question. How can I connect with you? Yeah. So if you're in my if you're in my silver or my gold or platinum version of my MBA program, you can get a one-on-one with me or a group meeting. And the way to do that is go to my website, harounventures.com, and you can learn about the differences between the three MBA programs right here. So if you're in platinum, you can get a one-on-one with me. Actually, more than 3 hours worth of one-on-ones over a course of a year. If you're in gold, you can get group setting meetings, and if you're in silver, it's just Q&A within the course. Yeah. All right. Let me get my water. And I'm trying to drink an entire thing of this every single day. One of my great MBA students, Christina, motivated me to do this. I compete with my students too when it comes to water and exercise and getting my 30,000 steps per day. All right. All right, next up, we got, hey, Rudy, how are you? Rudy, I haven't seen you in a long time. So Rudy started an insurance company. I think it was probably 2 years ago. It's been a while now. I hope you're doing well. And then Tony, who's from Montreal but lives in Toronto now. His wife works at Blake's, I think, right? The big law firm. Tony is saying, hi, Chris. I hope you and your family are doing well. I miss attending your session. Well, it's great to have you back. Thank you. Thank you. And Peyton, who's one of my amazing MBA students and has the most badass, awesome YouTube channel. You got to check it out. Peyton is saying, good morning, Chris. You motivate me. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And Peyton's actually in the United States Navy. He lives in Southern California, and he's writing a book right now on lessons he's learned in the Navy that apply to business in real life. And what he's doing, it's brilliant, is he's actually taking one chapter of the book every day and putting it on LinkedIn. He's repurposing content like Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about. Yeah. Peyton wrote, feel like YouTube has been a job lately with numbers declining. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I want to cover topics I'm covering with skits. Yeah. And then you wrote, I want to just talk about what I want to talk about and let it be fun for me. What do you think? Yeah. So just be yourself. I love your content. I absolutely love it. It's great. I wouldn't change a thing. I love your skits that you have right now. And by the way, Peyton got a one-on-one meeting with a couple of CEOs in great companies by creating vlogs and talking to them through the vlogs. It was amazing. But I would just keep at it. If you build it, they will come. You got to be relentless like a pit bull on a pork chop. And I'm coming up on a big milestone, which is 1,000 days of vlogging every single day in a row without missing any day. It takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, but keep at it. Tell yourself, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. And eventually it'll work. It'll work. And you got to keep in mind also, my favorite quote ever from Michael Jordan is this. He said, I've failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. So you got to keep at it, and eventually, if you build it, they will come. I promise you. Okay, cool. All right. Next up, Tony wrote, I'm here today because I've not gotten a raise. I even had an RSP match cut during COVID and reinstated recently. RSP or RRSP is the Canadian version of the 401k retirement savings program. Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. And then you wrote, in over 2 years now, I got a 3% merit increase, which does nothing in Toronto. And then you wrote, I made a request for a promotion and a raise verbally and written. I've been waiting for weeks and all I get is, I'm fighting for you. It's going several levels of clearance. Please be patient. Yeah. And then you said it's been 1 month now. How much longer should I wait? Or how should I nudge them? Yeah. So as I mentioned at the beginning of today's call, what you want to do is you want to strike while the iron's hot. When you reach a big milestone and your boss congratulates you, then you sit down with them and then you ask for the raise. You have to ask a bunch of times. I know it sounds weird, right? But you got to be relentless. Like my kids, especially my middle child here. I'll show you. Dylan. He's really. He asks over and over and over again for everything. I can't get this pedal to work, so I'll just do it manually so you guys can see a little bit closer. Yeah. So Dylan, he asks over and over and over again for everything. I hope he never changes. But we all change when we get older, when we're no longer kids, because we stop asking. You got to keep asking. You got to be relentless. You got to be relentless. All right. I promise you it'll work eventually. And you know what, dude? If you don't get that raise or promotion, then you can always vote with your feet and find a better job and take my complete job course. It's got a lifetime money back guarantee. I promise you it'll get you the job of your dreams or your money back. Yeah. All right. And by the way, when it comes to working for other people and bonuses in general, I've found that if you work for somebody that's very, very cheap and they don't give you a great bonus, they're probably not going to change. One data point does make a trend in that case, in which case you have to maybe move on to another company. Yeah. All right. They're cheap for a reason. That's how they got there. All right. Next up, Ananya is saying, hey, Chris, how can someone switch over to finance from an engineering background? Yeah, in Silicon Valley, we always say it's easier for an engineer to get into finance than it is for a finance person to get into engineering. And so it's going to come with a lot of networking. And what you can do is you can take my complete job course, which again has a lifetime money back guarantee. It'll teach you about how to create a great LinkedIn profile, a perfect resume, as well as how to network on steroids. Or what you can do is you go to my, just go to my website, harounventures.com, and scroll down, here it is, and download this book on networking, get a customers, a job, or anything you want. It's a couple hundred pages with a few hours of YouTube video links. I promise you it works. Okay. And just remember, your network is your net worth because relationships are always more important than product knowledge. Yeah. All right. Next up, Juan Pablo, hey Juan, is saying, if I start a YouTube channel, would it be a good idea to upload on other platforms like Vimeo and BitChute? I would just stick with YouTube as your main video website, but I'd also repurpose the content, your videos, and upload them natively directly to LinkedIn as well as to Twitter and Instagram. And natively, what I mean by that is you take your video. So say you record a YouTube video. Instead of just pasting the YouTube link in Twitter or LinkedIn or Instagram, you actually have to upload the video. And the reason is because those aforementioned social media networking platforms, they punish you from a click perspective, if and an SEO perspective too, if you're trying to promote YouTube or someone else's website. So on LinkedIn, what I do, and what I do, I repurpose all my content. I learned this from Gary Vaynerchuk. He's brilliant. So Gary V, he basically said, you want to repurpose your content. So for me, this weekly YouTube call, what I do is after it's done, based on the 7 best questions asked, I make 7 vlogs throughout the week on YouTube. And I also take smaller micro content versions of those vlogs, and I post them on Instagram as well as on LinkedIn as well. In terms of Vimeo, I would just stick with YouTube. Yeah. Vimeo is great if you work in the production industry and you want to be able to embed really, really high quality videos. Yeah. Okay. And you can always take my complete YouTube course. All my courses have a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. You got nothing to lose, everything to gain. You can always go right here to take those courses. Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, good, Peyton. You're getting on TikTok now. Excellent. Good for you. Good for you. Your content. I've seen your content. It's amazing. It's fun. They're short little videos. I laugh every time I see them, and they're perfect for TikTok. Good job. Nice. Next up, Dennis is asking a question, which is, hello, Chris. Which industry is for you the most promising industry in the future? Yeah. So before investing in a sector, what I always ask myself is this. In 5 years, is this sector going to be more relevant or less relevant than it is today? And so there's tons of sectors that I think are going to be much more relevant, like voice-based operating systems, virtual reality or augmented reality based operating systems as well. Anything to do with artificial intelligence, cryptocurrencies as well. And I'm still looking, by the way. So in my complete cryptocurrency course, I give you a 49-step framework for analyzing cryptos. Okay. And I'm using that, and I'm still looking for the Google of cryptos. I don't think it exists yet. What do I mean by that? Well, in the early days of the search engine market, you had a lot of not the best search engines like AltaVista. You had Ask Jeeves, you had Yahoo, etc. And then eventually Google came along towards the end of 1998 and disrupted the entire industry. I'm still looking for the Google of cryptos, and I have not found it yet. And the reason why so many cryptos exist is because there are limitations with a lot of cryptocurrencies. Like Bitcoin's kind of slow, which is why other cryptos were made, and there's a lot of money at stake as well. All right, next up, Anurag is saying, hey, Chris, greetings. Hey, man, hope you're doing well. Could you share some success stories of your students in fetching investments from high net worth individuals for starting their businesses? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what you want to do is you want to find something you have in common with people using LinkedIn. And I teach about this in my complete job course and in my MBA degree program on steroids. You want to find something you have in common. And you never want to send a message and say, hey, can you invest in my company? A lot of people do that, and I don't answer any of those questions, right? I'm so sorry, but I don't. What you want to do is you want to send an email using LinkedIn, and everybody on this call that's ever received an email has read every single one. I know you have. But I know most of you don't read most of your emails like me. It's just too hard. But with this email on LinkedIn, I want you to do an advanced search on LinkedIn. And I want you to find people that have one or two things in common with you. For example, they went to the same school as you, or they're from the same hometown, or both. And the way I want you to think about it is this. I want you to think about it as, let's say it's 20 years in the future, and you're 20 years more successful than you are today. And this younger version of you reaches out to you and asks for help or a meeting. Would you take that meeting? Of course you would. That's what I want you to do when it comes to networking, get meetings with high net worth investors over LinkedIn. So the message that you send over LinkedIn in the email, the subject line is hi. Everyone's going to open it. And the contents are as follows. Joanne, hope all is well. I'm also from Mississauga, and I also live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Please let me know if you have time for a quick Zoom call or a coffee when things get back to normal in the world post-COVID. That's it. And you don't say why you want to meet. Because if you say why, they're probably not going to respond anyway. Partially because they don't know if they can help you. But when they see your message, and they're kind of, why is this person reaching out to me? They didn't say why. I'm kind of interested. And this person reminds me of me 20 years ago. I'll take the meeting. And I want you to do it with high net worth investors and not venture capital firms if you're trying to raise money, because the sales cycle on raising money from one decision maker, meaning a high net worth investor, is quite short. You know, if you talk to institutions or big companies, it takes a long time. In fact, if you approach venture capital firms, what happens a lot of times is that you can get meetings, but it'll be with a junior analyst, because these junior analysts have to take hundreds of meetings every single year, and you just become a number. The bottom line, leverage LinkedIn, find one or two things in common you have with somebody that's 20 years older than you and 20 years more successful than you, for example, and just set up a meeting via email. Okay. Next up, Jason said, I just bought your 9-product bundle. It's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Question. Do you speak on investing long-term and occasionally short-term? How does one benefit monthly from investing in stocks and companies? Yeah. So I really believe in Warren Buffett's philosophy of the longer the view, the wiser the intention. It's too hard to predict stock movements in the short term because you're often fooled by randomness. You know, every month has got 20 weekdays, meaning 20 trading days for the equity markets. And the reason stocks go up and down within 20 days is usually random. A geopolitical event, maybe saber rattling between, DC and Russia, or prices of oil rise, or a company that's similar to the one you want to invest in just reported positive or negative earnings. You got to be very, very long-term focused. And in my MBA degree program, I provide you with a ton of arrows in your quiver or tools in your toolbox, so to speak, so that you can look at any type of possible investment. And what I'm adding to the MBA program this year, and I'm releasing a couple new courses this year too, I can't stop creating it, it's fun for me, is I'm creating the complete real estate course, And I'm also creating the complete options, derivatives, and futures course as well. And it's going to be so much fun with lots of props as well. And you use options and derivatives to protect yourself and also to make money. Last thing I'll say about this is that the global stock market cap, meaning the total of all stocks added together, is close to $100 trillion. The total market cap of the derivatives market, meaning options, futures, swaps, etc., is $600 trillion. It's 6 times bigger. It is massive, and you can make a fortune, and you can also protect yourself as well. And I'll explain that much more detail in my MBA degree program, as well as in the options course. And the options course version will be shorter. Yeah. Okay. All right. But if you want, take my complete financial analyst course. It's on Udemy, or you can go to this web address on my website here to take it. And in that course, you work for a pretend company called Haroun Sachs. Please don't sue me, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Haroun Sachs. And you rotate through all the divisions of my pretend investment bank, including investment banking, trading, sales, everything. And I teach you how to be a professional investor. Yeah. Okay. And then Tanaka wrote here, what's the best platform to buy cryptocurrencies? Yeah. So I like using Coinbase. It's just easy. I feel comfortable with it. I've been using it for years. I met with Fred Ursum, who's the founder, ages ago. He's no longer with the company. And yes, I did invest in the IPO, by the way. I'm just comfortable with it. Yeah, I'm comfortable with it. Yeah, it just works. Yeah. But when you use Coinbase, and let me talk about wallets, less so about markets for a second here. When you use Coinbase, that's a hot wallet, meaning for it to operate, it needs to be powered on by computers, right? It's in the cloud, Coinbase, or on your iPhone or Android handsets. So when you do that and you have an online wallet like that, a hot wallet, think of that like that's your checking account. Okay, just put a little bit of money in there for transactions or investing here and there, whatever it is. But I want you to use something more secure called a cold storage wallet, which is offline. It doesn't need power to work. For example, the Trezor or the Ledger Nano, that sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. All right. But in my complete cryptocurrency course, what I do is I actually go through a ton of different types of markets as well. Where is it here? Here's a spreadsheet. Yeah. So I go through these ones here. Yeah. And more. Yeah. All right. Where was I? All right. Let me get rid of that propaganda down there below. All right. Good. Okay. Next up, Patrick is saying, what do I need to do to be a world-class investment analyst? Yeah. So I think you need to think long-term and use a lot of frameworks. And I provide you with a ton of frameworks in my complete financial analyst training course, which you can buy from Udemy or my website, whatever. Or if you take my MBA degree program, I have something that is much, much more elaborate. And I want to show you just really, really quickly, and I'll get to more questions, a framework I developed for my students in my MBA program. It's a 100-step investment framework approach where we analyze everything about a company, the qualitative stuff, the quantitative stuff, as well as the financials. This is a really, really short video, but I'll show you some of the many tools I provide you with in my MBA program. So in the program, I provide you with every type of framework or arrow in your quiver or tool in your toolbox, so to speak, so you can be very, very successful, no matter what the business question or issue is in this course. And so there's this great company called TD Ameritrade. And what you can do is they have a product called Think or Swim. It's owned by TD Ameritrade. And you can sign up for free, and you can actually trade your own paper portfolio, right? And so this is what I'm doing here in my paper portfolio here, right? So I'm playing around with options here, options on Coca-Cola, for example, as part of the options course that I'm creating right now, which will also be added in much more detail to the MBA curriculum in class number 89 later this year. So check this out if you guys get a chance. It's fantastic. Again, do a search for Think or Swim, which is owned by TD Ameritrade. And what you can do is have a paper or pretend portfolio, and you could trade not just stocks, but options as well. And these ones here are calls, these are puts, these are in the money and out of the money. So, and I'll be talking a lot more about this when I publish my complete options and derivatives course later this year. Okay, moving on. Next up, Harsh is saying, hey Harsh, how are you? What is the future of activist hedge funds? Yeah. So an activist hedge fund, for those of you not familiar, are hedge funds that try to pressure companies to restructure in order to unlock shareholder value. And a lot of private equity firms do this as well. And so private equity firms actually forced eBay to break up into two companies. You know, one is the sleepy, slow growth auction platform, and the other is PayPal, as two separate independent companies. And the value of these two companies is much higher independently as it was when it was just eBay, PayPal. And so I think there's always going to be a big market for activist investors, be it private equity, hedge fund investors, et cetera, whatever it is, if companies are being mismanaged. And if you want to learn more about that sort of thing, do a search for Carl Icahn. And we do a case study on him in my MBA degree program as well. Yeah. All right. And the way it works, by the way, is if you buy a lot of shares in the company as a hedge fund, private equity firm, et cetera, what happens is because you own a lot of the company, you get a board seat, right? And sometimes multiple board seats because you have a fiduciary duty to your investors to tell them how your investments are doing. And when you muscle your way onto the board, you can basically tell the company what to do and even fire CEOs and executives if you own enough shares. Yeah, and you get the other investors to agree with you. And if you want to learn more about this, watch the movie Wall Street from 1987. Michael Douglas won Best Actor for it. And there's one speech he gives where he talks about greed is good, greed is right, which is debatable. I don't know. But he's actually talking to the board of Teldar Paper, and he has shareholders in the room, and he basically gets those executives fired for running the company into the ground. Another movie you can watch is called Other People's Money with Danny DeVito, OPM, Other People's Money, where he basically takes I think it's a cable company and runs it out of business because fiber optics are going to be replaced in the future. So check those two movies out for more details on how activists work. Great movies. All right. But with all Hollywood movies, the rich dude always loses. It's true. It is what it is. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Anurag is saying, what would be your strategies for networking with people where you don't have anything in common, like the same hometown or school? Yeah. So what I recommend doing before any meeting in business with anybody is I want you to go to their Twitter profile to see who they follow. And what you can do is I'm sure you can find something in common with them. You know, maybe they love baseball. You know, for me, I absolutely love baseball. This is an Andre Dawson autographed baseball bat. He was the MVP in '87 with Chicago Cubs. But I love baseball. And so if I meet anybody from any city in America, for example, like say Baltimore, I'll talk about the Baltimore Orioles or my admiration for Cal Ripken, who's a great player there. It works everywhere in the world too with real football as well. You know, you meet somebody from Manchester. Of course, you might talk about Manchester United, that sort of thing. Or if they follow Manchester United or Barcelona, or whatever team it is, you could talk about that in an informational meeting. And never show up to a meeting and talk business right away. It's a rookie mistake. You always want to bond before business because that's what business is. You know, business is about relationships first and product knowledge a second. And I remember years ago, I was on a cold streak and I couldn't get a job. And I was studying so hard for these interviews, and I'd show up and I was in business mode. And finally, I went to an interview and I was so damn frustrated. I just told myself, I don't care. I wasn't rude or abrasive. I just told myself, I don't care if I get this. And I just kind of shot the breeze and talked about sports, whatever. And I got that job. One data point doesn't make a trend, because it happened to me over and over and over again. The bottom line is always bond first before business. If you don't know what to bond about, go to their Twitter profile to see who they follow. All right. Next up, Dennis is saying, which traits in somebody tell you that someone will likely be successful in the future? Yeah. I think being a great salesperson, confidence leads to perceived competence. And all CEOs and entrepreneurs have one thing in common. They can sell. They can sell. Other traits I look for are people that are incredibly positive. The glass is not half empty. It's not half full. But my cup overfloweth with optimism. Really, really positive people are successful. And people that never give up either. And people that aren't afraid to fail. Like Michael Jordan. I failed over and over and over again in my career, and that's why I succeed. That's what he said. So people that are not afraid of failure, and usually people that aren't afraid of failure are the type of people that just don't give a damn what anybody thinks of them. And I want you to be that way as well, please. And the most important chart I can ever show you, and I'll draw it on this Michael Jordan chart here, is on this axis here is your age, and on this axis here is give a damn. When you're younger, like my kids, when you're younger, you're down here. You don't give a damn what people think of you. You don't care. You just you have meltdowns in restaurants, whatever. It is what it is. When you're older, over here, old people don't have confidence problems. They don't care. The problem is when you're in the middle, in your 20s, 30s, sometimes 40s even, you're up here. You give a damn what people think of you, right? And I call this the triangle of despair. And you need to eliminate that from your life and live at this level here. Okay, that's where the best entrepreneurs, they don't care. I remember Mark Benioff, who's the founder of the biggest company in San Francisco called Salesforce.com. I worked in the same building as he did years ago in San Francisco at One Market Plaza. And I remember him walking his Labrador with his untucked Hawaiian shirt, which is dope. And he was walking around in bare feet in a public lobby. Like, he just doesn't care. Right? And that's one of the reasons why he's successful too. He doesn't care. I love it. So Richard Branson, this older dude's had long hair forever. He never gave a damn what anybody thought of him either. We need to be the same way as well. We need to live at this level. And your homework today is as follows. I want you to write down on a piece of paper, I don't care about X, and fill in the blank for X. I don't care what people think of my job. I don't care what people think of the way I dress. I don't care about what people think of the way I am. I don't care that people know that I love playing video games with my kids. I don't care what people think. Try it. It works. It's therapeutic as well. And you'll never reach your full potential in life unless you have that mindset of, I don't care. I don't care if people laugh at me for failing, because you only have to be right in business one time. I'm going to fail over and over and over again and march to the beat of my own drum and live my life on my term. I want you to all watch a movie too. The movie I want you to watch is called The Three Idiots. I'm not referring to these people, maybe me, myself, and I, but Three Idiots is a great movie. It's the best Bollywood movie ever made. It's got captions as well. It's awesome. Made in 2009, about choosing your own career path in life and not trying to please your parents or any other people. Just be you. Okay. All right. Next question is Harsh is saying, why did you close your hedge fund and how long did you run it for? Yeah. So I launched it. I started raising money in late 07. I launched it in 08. Had a good year, relatively speaking. It was great. I had some months where I made 3 or 4% when the market was down 20 or 30%. I eventually shut it down in late 2011. So about 4 years. And the reason I did it, and I actually morphed it into kind of a venture capital fund as well. Where I had a private position in Facebook as well. The reason I shut it down is because I hated it. I hated making money when off of people losing money. It felt weird and unnatural and unethical for me too in the fall of '08, coming into work and hoping banks would go bankrupt because I was short those positions. I hated it. I hated the short nature as well of the market. I wanted to be a longer term investor, which is why I kind of morphed into venture capital after that. Yeah. And you'll never be happy if you chase money. If they say if you can't enjoy a cup of coffee, then you will never enjoy a Lamborghini. All right, next up, and I want to teach too. I love doing this, man. All right, next up, Steve is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Steve. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for having time to answer my tweet on the CFA books on eBay. Oh, yeah, you're most welcome. The Schweizer books, that will save you a fortune and time as well. And you wrote 2 days ago, I most gratefully respond to your tweet. Thank you. My question is, how do I search the books on eBay? Thank you. Yeah. So what Steve was asking me about in a tweet was about the CFA. Now, I respect the CFA more than I respect the MBA designation. The CFA stands for the Certified Financial Analyst. And basically, it's an exam that you write. You write 3 exams over 3 years, and you study in your own time. And the CFA Institute, what they do is they tell you which textbooks to buy, which cost you a fortune, and they're boring. So what you do instead is you buy books by Schweizer. And Schweizer is a company that's owned by Kaplan, which is owned by the Washington Post, which is now owned by Jeff Bezos. And Schweizer are books that basically condense all those boring textbooks into a small amount of information. So just search for Schweizer, like I wrote in the tweet, and CFA. Okay, and buy a bundle of books. It'll cost you $30 for all 6 books to study for level 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, make sure you get ones that have been published within the past 2 or 3 years, though, in case they change the content for the exam. All right. Next up, Anurag is saying, hey, Chris, you teach to build financial models in your course. When it comes to real world in investment bank, what are some of the roles or activities being performed? Yeah. So it's everything in my complete financial analyst training program. And you can access that course in all courses by going to this link here. Yeah. And investment banking is not as glamorous as you think, right? Like no one's happy doing investment banking. And your buddies that work in investment banking, you're like, oh my God, they make so much money. They don't. They make the same amount of money you make per hour, but they work 3 times more hours per week than you do. Yeah, or 2 times more hours. Yeah, no one's happy doing that. Yeah, make sure before going after any job in business, and I kind of introduce you to all careers in my MBA degree program. I feel like a waiter with a menu. But before going after any job or making a career change, instead of figuring out how to make that change, ask yourself why. Why do I want to go into that career? And if the sole reason is just to chase money, you'll never be happy. You'll never be happy. If you chase money, you lose your dreams and potentially your money. If you chase your dreams, as long as you don't give a damn what people think of you, and as long as you're willing to fail, if you chase your dreams, something amazing happens. Your dreams always come true if you're relentless, and the money follows accidentally. It always does, no matter what anybody tells you. All right, next up, Levy is saying, what business model that is pandemic and recession-proof? Yeah, so there's certain stocks that do well in bear markets and horrific recessions. Okay, and those stocks usually have low betas. They're not as volatile, and they're consumer staples. Stuff like Campbell's Soup, ticker CPB, right? Because regardless of how the economy is doing, people are still going to be eating, that sort of thing. Yeah. So just think about basic necessities always, and basic necessities and stocks that have low betas as well. And usually value investments do quite well as well. Companies with reasonably high dividend yields, as long as there's not something wrong with the company, do well. And what you want to do is just do a search for Warren Buffett's portfolio over the years, and you'll come up with a list of stocks. Yeah. All right. And then next up, Akazan is saying, hey, Chris. Hey, man. Thank you for everything you do. My pleasure. Thank you. Could you please tell us, how do you structure your thoughts? Is there any general structure that you follow? Yeah. So I provide my students with a lot of crutches that they can use in interviews or when they're giving a speech. And sometimes when you're not sure what to say next, you can use what are called transition words. For example, moving on to, in terms of, lastly, and the bottom line is this. So whenever you're not sure, you can do that. And teachers, they reread questions so they can think of the answer as well. Yeah. So that's what I would say. You can also use other frameworks that I teach you, like the SWOT analysis, for example, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So somebody asked me, what are your thoughts on company X? Well, I'll say, well, I think the biggest strengths are yada, yada, yada. In terms of the weaknesses, yada, yada, yada. Moving on to the opportunities, blah, blah, blah. And lastly, the threats. But the bottom line is this. And I find that when I'm rambling, which I do sometimes, my go-to crutch is the bottom line is, yeah. All right. And then Muhammad is saying, hey, Chris, hey, man. At what point should we decide to quit our job and start our own business? Because this decision is not easy, especially for those of us who already have a family, wife and children. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. I don't want you to quit until you write a thorough business plan. And you can take my complete business plan course at this address here, or sign up for my MBA degree program where we do a much more in-depth venture capital bootcamp in the 3rd semester. And failing to plan is planning to fail. And most people don't write a business plan before making the most important professional decision of their life. And while you write your business plan, and again, you can take my 9-hour complete business plan course at this link here. While you write your business plan, if at any point writing that business plan, you decide based on your research and the questions I ask you in my course, if at any point you decide, oh my God, this is not a good business. I didn't realize there are these issues with the business based on my research. Then stop writing the business plan. I have so many business plans I never completed. But if you complete a business plan, it's probably a good bet. Now, in terms of quantifying when to quit, what I usually recommend when it comes to side hustles is something conservative like this. If you work for somebody, and if over the past 6 months, your income from your side hustle is greater than your annual salary, then it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But don't just look at 1 or 2 months, okay? Like, don't just look at November or December, because seasonally those are strong. And what happens in November and December for holiday shopping is not representative of what happens in the summer months. I want you to look on a 6-month trailing basis always. Next up, hey Jeff, how are you? Jeff wrote, hey Coach Chris, nice to have you here again. Likewise, good to see you. All right, and by the way, some people try to post links here as well, and for some reason YouTube doesn't allow it. So if you post a link, I don't see it. Sorry. And if I missed your question, post it again, please. Thanks. And I read every question. Yeah. Next up, Levy is saying, giving the proper weight to feedback is important to avoid negativity. How would you weigh people feedback and not accept the label you don't want? Yeah. So I would say that unjustified criticism is a disguised compliment. Let me say that again. Unjustified criticism is a disguised compliment, right? So you choose how to process things. You know, when people criticize me, I don't say it out loud, but I think to myself, oh, thank you. Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. And you become Teflon. And when you've been teaching and doing stuff online like I have for so many years, dude, I get so many criticisms. Like people criticize me a lot, right? It just happens. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, and even a couple like weird things happened. Like a couple weeks ago, I thought my mom was on this call, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, how sweet!" My mom's name was there, and she made a statement or asked a question. It wasn't my mom. I asked my mom too. So weird things happen. But you just gotta. If you're not getting criticized, you're not successful. Yeah, I love you, Mom. Yeah. All right. Next up, Gregor is saying, "Hey, Chris, do you have some kind of personal knowledge system? Do you make some kind of notes when you're reading books?" Yeah, So what I do is this. Whenever it's very unstructured, my process to creating content. But what I'll do is this. So I'm kind of creating 2 courses right now at the same time. One is the complete options course, and the other one is a complete real estate course. And more in-depth stuff on those two topics will be in the MBA program, of course. But what I do is I email myself a lot. And what I do is in the subject line of my emails, I actually I write the word options or real estate, and then I search for those emails later. Let me show you exactly what that means. I've been doing this for years. It's very unstructured, but I think it humbly works exceptionally well. So if I go here to my email, all right, and if I search for the word, or I think it's option, actually, hold on, option, yeah. If I search just the subject line for the word option, I'll find a bunch of things that come up here, or real estate as well, right? And I have to filter by my name as well, right? So I actually filter by the subject. Let's do this again here. Sorry, guys, I'm not doing a good job here. Option, okay. In the subject line, search. Here we go, here. So right here, you see here, this is for my options course. These are fragmented pieces of logic I have, right? So I wrote here, options course. It's like car insurance. So when I explain to people in the course about car insurance, that kind of explains, what options are. Or I wrote here, talk about the options trading for the tulip mania. The tulip mania was in these years here in the 1600s, where the price of tulips went up, hundreds and hundreds of times, and people use options to protect themselves. So that's what I do. Or I'll do the subject, like I mentioned before, real estate. And so this here is for my real estate course here, right? And I don't think I have as many of them, but anyway, so that's what I do. That's what I do. So I have unstructured logic, and then I throw everything together into a Microsoft Word document, all those options comments. And then I kind of drag and drop, and eventually I make H1 headings for sections, H2 for lectures, that sort of thing. Yeah. If that makes sense. All right, next. Hey, Gregory, how are you, man? Gregory say, hey, Chris, how can a leader inspire his or her management team in these difficult economic and social times? Yeah, a lot of positive feedback. And one of the best managers I've ever met is a guy named Godfrey Sullivan. And he took Splunk, ticker SPLK, public. He also worked at Apple, and he was the CEO of Hyperion before Oracle bought them. And I was the third largest shareholder of Hyperion years ago at a big company. And I talked to people that work for Godfrey, and I said, why is Godfrey so successful? And the reason is because Godfrey praises in public, but he only criticizes in private. And so I think the best managers instill a sense of confidence in people that work for them or with them. And they only offer constructive criticism in private. There's nothing worse than being berated by a teacher or your manager. I think the best teachers and the best managers are the one that instill confidence. Because when you instill confidence and provide positive feedback, then your subordinates, basically can walk through walls and do anything. With confidence is key always. Always. Yeah. Positive feedback. You can never give enough of it. Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, and Peyton said, I like your hair growing it out. I am a bit, man. A little bit. Yeah. I'm trying something different here. Yeah, I'm letting my hair down. Yeah. All right. And then Anurag wrote, hey, Chris, you said never invest in a company when the founder has left. What's your take on Amazon since Bezos has resigned from the CEO position? Yes. Yeah. It's something I do think about a lot right now. And so years ago in VentureBeat, when I worked in venture capital, venturebeat.com is the go-to VC news service. I wrote an article that got a lot of press humbly, which is don't ever invest in a company when all the founders have left. Now, Jeff Bezos has not officially left. He's still at the company. If he spends a lot less time running the company and does pet projects like buying a sports team, whatever, that would worry me. Whenever a founder of a company makes a lot of money and then has pet projects like a sports team, almost always actually, that's a great indication to short the stock. But if Bezos is no longer involved at all, that would really, really worry me. However, they chose the right person Andy Jassy to become CEO, because Andy Jassy, he started the cloud division, right? He started Amazon Web Services. And so investors love him because that's the biggest growth driver for Amazon longer term. Kind of like Satya Nadella at Microsoft. He got promoted CEO because he started their cloud division at Microsoft Azure, which was the right choice. Yeah. But you might see a little bit lack of innovation, like with Apple, for example. And I love Apple products, but since Steve Jobs, God bless him, has passed away, they haven't really done anything incredibly innovative, right? They've done well, but they haven't created any groundbreaking new products. They made a bigger iPad, a smaller iPad, a bigger iPhone, a watch that's doing okay, but they don't tell us how many they've sold because they're probably not tracking ahead of expectations, that sort of thing. Yeah. So innovation usually dies when a founder steps away completely in a company. Yeah. All right. And next up, David is saying, hi, Chris. Is it better to release an app minimum viable product or take that minimum viable product to an angel investor to help make the app better first? In this case, more secure from hacking because there's a game and prize element. Yeah. So I don't think you have to have a completed product to be able to raise money. I think you have to have a concept and a solid business model. So, for example, there's a venture capital firm called Kleiner Perkins that I partnered with in the past when I worked in VC. And I met a man there named Randy Komisar. Great guy. And Randy made a couple $1 billion selling Nest, which is a thermostat company, selling Nest to Google. And I asked Randy when I was in his office years ago, I said, Randy, how did you know? I mean, what was the Nest product like when you saw it, when the engineers first showed it to you, when you're thinking of investing? And he said, Chris, they had a block of wood. It was a round block of wood. And that was it. That was their kind of MVP. It was just a concept. And I said, well, why did you invest? And he said, because the management team was amazing, incredible salespeople, and they really inspired me as well. And so I think that your ability to inspire your investors and let them know that you can sell is really, really important. And I'd always rather invest in a company with an A management team with a B business model instead of investing in a company with a B management team and an A business model. The jockey's always more important than the horse. All right. Next up, Delo is saying, hey, Chris, hey, man, should I buy a GPU or am I better off buying and holding? Okay, so if you're saying, should I make a cryptocurrency computer or should I just buy cryptos? So it all depends on the cost of electricity where you live. Okay, so if the cost of electricity where you live is 10 cents per kilowatt hour or lower, and if you can get a GPU for a decent price, then I think you should think about mining cryptocurrencies as long as you're allowed to do it in your country. And if you want more details on how to do this, you could take my complete cryptocurrency course or take my MBA degree program, which has an even more updated version of the content from that course. Yeah. And we're in the process of updating that course as well. Yeah, adding new stuff. Okay. All right. And I did such a thorough job, humbly, on making that complete cryptocurrency course. I dedicated 6 months, day and night of my life to it. And I hired this guy to proofread everything, right? Because I wanted to make sure that I was adding value. And this guy was so amazing. And what I'm about to tell you is crazy. But the NSA knocked on my door. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not Snowden. What is this? Scary. And the guy came in, really nice guy. And he didn't tell me exactly what he was doing, but he told me that they were doing background checks on this person I hired to proofread all my stuff. And I think it's because this guy was so money, they wanted to hire him. Because as you all know, the NSA created SHA-1 and SHA-256, which is the basis of cryptography and the secure algorithm for Bitcoin. That was a scary knock on my door, though. Yeah. All right. Next up, Jordan is saying, hi, Chris. Greetings from South Africa. Hope you're doing well, man. I hope you're well as well. Is there one decision that you wish you did not make? Yeah. I wish I didn't chase money. Now, I get it. Look, we all need to live. We all need to provide for our family. But I wish that earlier in my life, I wasn't so damn insecure and trying to impress people by going to work at Goldman Sachs or whatever it is I did. I wish I just followed my heart from a younger age instead of being insecure. I really, really do. Because I think, and there's a great book you guys should read called The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. And the Dalai Lama said the problem with Western society is we sacrifice our health, our entire lives, in order to make money. And at the end of our lives, we sacrifice all of our money in order to maintain our health. And then we look back and we realize we never really lived to begin with. Follow your heart. Follow your heart, and don't give a damn what anybody thinks of you when it comes to a career. Don't be insecure like I was. Do what you love doing. And I promise you, if you fail enough times and you don't give a damn what people think of you, your dreams will come true and the money will follow accidentally. It always does. Next up, Ilgan is saying, do you read every day? Just on the internet, whatnot. I don't really sit down and read books. I don't have that. Like, I used to be able to read like a 5,000 word editorial in the New York Times or Vanity Fair, whatever. I just don't have the patience anymore. Yeah. I do listen to audiobooks though. Yeah. But never read editorials when it comes to investing. Like, don't listen to anybody. And don't watch interviews on television of CEOs being interviewed, because they're going to bias you. They made CEO because they're great salespeople, and they're going to bias you. Always do your own research. Always. And I pride myself humbly on providing my students with a ton of arrows in their quiver, or tools in their toolbox, so to speak. So you can always do your own research before deciding to invest in something or taking on a new career. Next up, Mohammed is saying, hi, Chris. Do you have tips how to bootstrap our business while having a job? And bootstrapping means how do you pay for the stuff? Yeah. I start to bootstrap my company. It's quite hard to build, maybe because I still have a job. What is your suggestion? Yeah. So what I would say is, like, don't ever start a company where you're going to have inventory, or you're going to produce a product, unless you sell the product first. Okay, and have your customers finance it, kind of like what Michael Dell did from his dorm room in Texas when he started Dell Computer in the 1980s. Inventory can destroy a company. You know, the barriers to entry to start a company are very, very low now. If you create a virtual product, or you teach like I do, you know, all you need is this. This is your fishing rod, right? This is it. You all have this. You can all do what I'm doing. You can all teach. You can all make great videos like Peyton, one of my wonderful MBA students here, does for his YouTube channel. And YouTube is the only gold rush in history that costs you nothing to get the product or make the product. And YouTube is the only gold rush in history where you can get immediate access to potentially billions of customers. And so when you start a company, I want you to be incredibly cheap and understand you don't have to be in the San Francisco Bay Area or Hyderabad or London to start a tech company. You can do it from anywhere, because the cost of computing and the barriers to entry continue to drop materially. Yeah, and before spending a penny anyway, I want you to write a business plan. And you can always take my complete business plan course at this link right here. Yeah, or my MBA degree program. We do a much more in-depth version of that, which I call the Venture Capital Bootcamp. Next up, Cuban Media said, hey, Chris, Revolut has got the banking license in the United Kingdom, and they're going to settle their branch in India. Do you think that is a milestone for the world banking system of fiat money? I don't know much about that. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Next up, Craig is saying, just a wee hiya, seeing you live. I hope all is well. Have an excellent day. Thank you, Craig. Good to see you, bud. Good to see you. Okay. Manoj is saying, namaste, Chris. Guru, you're my guru. Thank you. Next up, we got Samantha saying, hi, Chris, I love your webcast. Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you think Bitcoin is the way forward? And how soon, when it will be part of the normal? Our competitors in private aviation charters are offering Bitcoin already. Thank you. Yeah, a lot of companies are offering Bitcoin. And one of the reasons why companies want to offer cryptocurrencies as a way to pay is that if they accept, Visa or MasterCard, they have to pay Visa or MasterCard, 1 to 3% fees. If they accept Amex, they have to pay 3, 4, 5% fees. And if you're competing against Amazon, for example, where your margins are razor thin, if you if you accept payment for something where you're paying between 1 and 5% fees, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it longer term. And retail is so cutthroat that the reason they call Black Friday, which is the third or fourth week in November, it's the biggest shopping day of the year in America. They call it Black Friday because all year long, retail companies are in the red, meaning they're losing money, and they break even on Black Friday. It's tough. And so competing with Amazon or Walmart online or whatever it is so hard to do that if you just accept credit cards and your profit margins are tiny, you're not going to make money ever. But if you accept cryptocurrencies, the fees are almost nothing. And so that's one of the many reasons why I guess your aviator competitors you wrote are accepting Bitcoin. It's going to happen. And people also will use Litecoin and other cryptocurrencies as well, which move much faster than Bitcoin. But in terms of Bitcoin being mainstream, what's happened in the past year, what's changed, is that every government in the world has basically, most governments have said they're going to keep interest rates at close to zero for a long time because of COVID. And so what happened was, like a lot of companies, what they do on their balance sheet is they have cash and short-term investments. And the short-term investments, it's kind of like cash. They can be treasuries or, government securities, whatever. Companies are taking a little bit of that short-term investment thing and they're putting it, instead of into treasuries, into cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, or Dogecoin or whatever it is, if you're Elon Musk. And even companies like MicroStrategy, MSTR, I used to call them MicroTragedy. I used to short that company all the time. But Saylor, who's actually the brilliant founder, he put $1 billion in MSTR, his company, on his balance sheet in Bitcoin. Right? So big companies are starting to do it now. Right? And that's what's changed. Yeah. All right. Patrick wrote, management team, awesome points. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Patrick, thank you for posting that first question at 10 p.m. last night, to my time. Thank you. Next up, we got Manoj, who's saying, how do you maintain the equilibrium between your work life and your family life and keep yourself sane at the same time? Oh, I'm not sane. Yeah. I think balance. I think balance is big, and you've got to force yourself to take one day off a week. It's a great investment in your sanity, your family, and your future. And so a lot of great religions, believe that, God created the world in 7 days, or actually on the seventh day he rested, right? And people have understood burnout for thousands and thousands of years. And so for me, my holy day off per week is Sunday. I have a lot of friends that their Sabbath, they'll take off Saturday. And then I have a lot of friends also in the Middle East that will take Friday off. Right, so you gotta take one day off a week in order to be very, very successful in the long run. And you gotta schedule your days too, which I teach you about in my MBA degree program. Your weekdays, at least, not the weekends. You'll go nutty. But if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And if you schedule each day, you'll accomplish much more. And to get my schedule, you can go to my website. I won't go there because I've done it before. You go to harounventures.com/schedule. All lowercase, schedule. And that's kind of a basic version of my daily schedule that I use on weekdays. I also have one that's much more advanced for my MBA students as well. Yeah. All right, next up, Steve is saying, concerning corporate politics, I'm in a situation that you must give a reply. I understand, it's always suffice. I'm not sure if I understand the question. If you can ask it a different way, I'd be humbled to try to answer it. Thank you. All right. Next up, Anurag wrote, Dear Chris, our beloved mentor, thank you. Do you have a financial goal for your venture? And are you personally or otherwise, if not materialistic? Yeah. For me, it's not. The second this becomes only about money, then it's game over. I will never take any. I get sponsorship offers all the time, right? And I'll never do it because I want to stay pure and true to my students. And so on my website, what I've actually done, because I get approached all the time for stuff. If you go here to the press part of my website here, you'll see that I wrote here, please note that we do not accept any sponsorship deals of any kind, regardless of the remuneration amount from any company. We also do not accept or make any partnership deals of any kind at Haroun Education Ventures, as we are 1,000,000% laser focused on adding tremendous value to our students. The customer always comes first. Always, always, always. And that's the way that Jeff Bezos ran Amazon for years. It's all about a great customer experience. If you take care of your customers, then in the long run, profits will follow as well. There's like a perfect correlation between the two. Yeah. All right. Next up, Samantha wrote, "Hi, Chris. Entertaining is good. However, saying that I find your webcasts very interesting. Thank you. I like that you are a matter of fact and don't flower things so that your content is interesting. Thank you. And I appreciate it. I'm trying to mix things up here too. I did get I get a lot of feedback and I did get complaints last year. People said, God, Chris, you're sounding tired. And so what I did was I got rid of the chair. I have no chair in my office, and I never will again. And I've got a treadmill below me here that I use when I'm working. I get 30,000 steps in every single day. But no chairs allowed in my office ever again. Ever again. Yeah. And motion, as Tony Robbins says, motion creates emotion. And this is the same headset that Tony Robbins has too. I'm trying to figure it out. My S's sound a little bit weird now. Now that's all you're going to listen to. My S's. Oh boy. All right. Next up, Samantha is saying, thanks for the template. You're most welcome. I've always wanted to write a book. Now with a template, I have a foundation. Thanks, Chris. You're most welcome. And again, if Benjamin, if you're on the call, thank you for sending me this. I appreciate it. Benjamin's one of my great students from Canada, represent as well, like me. And he wrote this book here. Thank you. Okay. Costs you nothing, too. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And then Patrick is saying, last year I applied to Goldman Sachs for an internship opportunity for the first time, and I made it to the semifinals. So good for you. That's awesome. Nice. I'm preparing to reapply later this year. How do I beat the M&A question stage? Yeah. So what you want to do is I have a course called the Complete Financial Analyst course, where I teach you everything about working at a place like that or investing. And I also teach you how to go through investment banking or finance-related interviews, right? And I provide you with several crutches for how to analyze M&A deals as well. For example, if you're doing an M&A case study, you have to decide, well, should this company build or buy? And you have to go through, if they can buy, do they have enough finances available, all that stuff. You have to look at the valuation framework, and I have everything in my Complete Financial Analyst course, which you can get here. Thanks. Okay. And Umar is saying, I'm also switching from engineering to finance. Yeah, and earlier I said that it's easier to go from engineering to finance than vice versa. Yeah. All right. And hey, Craig. Craig is saying, dreaming big can be a bit overwhelming in the short term. I can't remember the young man's name who said it. Compound small decisions in your favor. Do you manage your time based on long-term goals? Yeah. No, I have very long-term goals. As James Cameron, a great fellow Canadian director and writer of Avatar and Titanic said, if you set your goals so high and you fail, you still fail above everyone else's expectations. But you always have to have goals. And the most depressing thing is when you achieve a goal and you're like, okay, what now? You always have to move the goalpost out, okay, and set new goals. And you have to vocalize your goals and set deadline dates or they won't come true. And the reason why 90% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January is because they don't set a deadline date. You've got to set a deadline date and you have to vocalize it as well. So for me, and we're on webcast 133 now, but in the first couple webcasts, 3 years ago, whatever it was, I said my goal is in 10 years to get an Oscar award for best documentary. It'll be a business documentary. It makes the world a better place. Well, now I've got 7.5 years to do it, right? And people ask me about it. How's that Oscar thing you're working on. Well, I'm like, well, it's the quality of the videos are getting better here. It's going to take a while, but I'm actually working right now, potentially on doing something on Netflix, on making a cryptocurrency documentary. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Next up, Patrick is saying, how do I answer the question of what are the recent M&A deals that the firm was involved with and the content of the deal? Yeah. So what you want to do, and I remember when I interviewed at Goldman years ago, I was asked, what news was there on Goldman this morning? And of course, that morning, and this was July 31st of 1998, I remember reading the newspaper that morning. And that was actually the same day, I think, bin Laden bombed that boat. I remember that it was kind of a weird day in the trading floor at Goldman when I interviewed there. But you have to make sure that you understand what the news flow is. And the way to do it is quite simple. You do it, just go to Google Alerts and set up a Google Alert for Goldman Sachs or whatever company you're interested in, so that you'll get immediate updates the second any news hits. Yeah. And then Samantha wrote, is there no end to your talents, Chris? No, please. No. They say those who can't do, teach. And those who can't teach gym class. And I suck at sports, so I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I just love this. I love doing what I'm doing. I love doing what I'm doing. I wish I had gone right to teaching when I was a teenager. Yeah. It's fun. And when one teaches, two learn. That's why you have to mentor other people. Because when you mentor other people and help them, you're basically reminding yourself of what your personal success factors are in life, or your blueprint, so to speak. When one teaches, two learn. All right. And give me 1 second. I just got a text, and I have kids that, No. It's okay. That was just, I have family in Canada, and they're not big Trudeau fans. And they had an image of Pierre Trudeau, or not Pierre Trudeau, his son, Justin Trudeau, who I went to school with actually in Canada. And I'll tell you a quick Trudeau story. So I went to McGill University in Canada, and there was this girl, and she was so gorgeous that like nobody had the confidence to talk to her. And finally, in my 4th year at McGill, right, this is back in 1994, I finally had the confidence to go to talk to her. And it was the middle of campus, some charity event. And I started talking to her, and she was talking to me as well. Weird how it works. And then I was using my humor, which is awful, as you know, my dad humor. It was even worse back then. And she was laughing at my jokes. And a half hour goes by, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to ask for her number. This is unbelievable. I must be dreaming. And then all of a sudden, this guy walked up. He has long hair. He looked like Jim Morrison, right? And he started talking to her. And then she turned her back to me, right? And I was like, dude, what? I just got Heisman. Like, what just happened there? And so I don't know what to do. And so, who's this guy? And so I go to the guy. I said, hi, I'm Chris Haroun. Like I'm anybody. I'm not. And he goes, Justin Trudeau. Dude, I can't compete with a Kennedy. So actually, he was a nice guy. But my parents and my family, they're not happy with the way that Trudeau has handled the whole COVID situation in Canada. Canada is like 50th in the world in terms of, there's more daily cases in Canada now for COVID than in America. And America has 10 times more people. And so the joke was, and Trudeau used to be a drama teacher. The joke was, there's a red hat here that says, make Trudeau a drama teacher again. Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm pissing off liberals in Canada, but yeah, it's funny. Oof. Don't talk about politics ever, please, in interviews or any meetings, because half the people won't like you. Yeah. I don't know what half. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Steve is saying, hey, Chris, you talk about 3 things to bring to the job interview, a book you wrote. What are the other things? So the other things are templates that you can create. And I provide you with 11 templates in my complete job course you can get here, and much more updated versions of those templates and much more in my MBA degree program as well. And those templates, basically the way you got to think about any meeting in life any job interview or whatever it is, interview with a potential customer, you got to think what drives them. And people are usually motivated by three things in business. Number one, they want to make more money. Number two, they want to get promoted faster. And number three, they want to enjoy what they're doing, right? They kind of want to enjoy it. So if you can bring templates or write-ups, which I explain in a lot of detail in my MBA program or my complete job course at this link here, if you can bring templates that help them with one, two, or three of those aforementioned qualities and add value to them, then they're going to help you. You know, give and you'll receive. It's prophetic and it's been true since the beginning of time. Okay. All right. Next up, Manas. Hey, Manas, how are you, man? Manas is from India. Manas wrote, "Hello, my dear mentor. Comment allez-vous? Très bien, merci. Je vais faire la grasse matinée. Hope all is well." So what suggestions would you give to a person whom you knew very well, but who failed a lot of times in his or her life and finally said, "I quit"? Yeah. I would just quite simply show them this quote. You'll never make it big in life unless you fail a lot. And don't give a damn what people think of you either. You just have to say, I don't care. I'm going to march to the beat of my own drum and fail a lot, and eventually I'll be right. And all great authors, you know, whether it's John Grisham, J.K. Rowling, Agatha Christie, C.S. Lewis, they all had one thing in common. They had like 20 or 30 publishers say no to their books. But in business and in all aspects of life, you only have to be right one time. That's it. So never give up, ever. Yeah. And my kids, actually, I train my kids, like from the second they're born. There's two things I've always said to my kids. I say something, they complete the sentence immediately. What I say is this. I say, you never, and immediately they go, give up, right? You never give up. And you always finish what you started. You never give up. You always finish what you started. Okay. It is chilly in here, man. Okay. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, I need your help. Can you show us how would you give your pitch if you participated in Shark Tank? Just an assumption, please. Do show us how you would give the pitch. Thanks. Yeah. So let me first of all explain how Shark Tank works. And for those of you not familiar with it, it's a bunch of business executives on television here in America that will judge deals. And what happens is entrepreneurs come in and they pitch their company for 10 or 15 minutes. And then basically it's like Gladiator, right? All those people like Mark Cuban decide to invest or not invest. The reality is this, though, and I've met people that have gone on the show. What Shark Tank does is they record about 1 to 2 hours worth of them pitching the deal. And then in the post-editing process, they take the most 10 to 15 minutes of interesting stuff. Sometimes it makes the entrepreneurs look foolish, sometimes not, right? They do a good job, but it's highly edited. Right? Yeah. All right. Next up, hey, Kevin, how are you, man? Kevin is saying good morning. Hope you're doing well, man. And I'll never take any outside investors to my company ever, because I want to always be pure and about the student and not about any sort of endorsements or whatever it is, right? This is all about the student. Yeah. I'll never take a penny of outside money. Yeah. And I've had offers. Okay. All right. Manas is saying, how's the TV studio coming along? I'm keenly waiting to see you on the television, how you look on TV, when's it coming out? So we're slowly morphing into it. Like if you go back to the first couple of weeks of my webcast, we're on week 133 now, things are changing, right? Like I'm kind of adding like this little bug in the corner. That's what they call it. Hey there. And then you have moving cameras and stuff. So it's coming along, and I've got more professional lights coming soon in the back to fill up the back better than these two lights I have up here, right? It's going to be more even, and yeah, you'll see. We're getting there. All right. But the fact that I mentioned it and you asked me about it's a good thing, because when you vocalize your goals and people ask you about it makes you do it. So thank you for that. Okay, next up, Augustia is saying, thanks for the webcast. You're welcome. I heard that you are planning to release a futures and options course. Do you know when it will be released? I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks. So that course and my complete real estate course, they're going to come out on my platform and on Udemy, and much more detailed versions of it in my MBA program in the second half of this year. Yeah, I'm trying to be very, very thorough about it. I have just a ton of props as well. A lot of I'm using hockey as an analogy. And the way I'm doing that, I've got a hockey stick up there. I'll show you guys later. But I've got a ton of new props. But I want to teach it in the right way. I even bought a farmer's costume. And the reason I bought a farmer's costume for the options course is because I explain why options exist. And so I dress up as a farmer from the 1800s. And I have a big thing of wheat. I have a ton of bushels of wheat just outside my office here. I have a big thing of wheat. And I'm a farmer. And I basically say this in the course. Gosh, I want to sell my wheat right now for $1 per bushel. But the problem is I have to put it on a train and it takes 7 days for it to arrive to my customer. And then my customer buys it. What if the price of wheat drops below $1? I'm going to lose the farm. And then all of a sudden, poof, this man appears with smoke and everything. Jean-Pierre Morgan. And I have a costume for him as well. And JP Morgan, this is true. He said, well, let me help you. How about I buy that wheat from you today in the future for $1? So when it gets delivered in 7 days, you're going to get $1 no matter what. And that way, if the price of wheat goes down in 7 days, you still get $1. However, if the price goes above $1, I get $1. And so that's how I introduced the whole concept of futures and options and derivatives in general. Yeah, which is a massive market. Yeah. It's tricky to teach it though, because it's the most confusing thing out there in all of finance. But I'm going to demystify it and make it easy. All right. Next up, Samantha said, you make it sound so easy. I will enjoy adding building a computer to my list of goals. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. The only issue with building a computer is getting this, getting the graphics card, right? You can't find these damn things anywhere. And if you find them, you're going to pay 2 to 3 times the price because the price of cryptocurrencies have gone up a lot. And that's why video gamers hate cryptocurrency miners, because, video game PCs are going up in price. Yeah. And there's a global shortage of chips now too. It's amazing. We live in interesting times. And who would have thought NVIDIA's market cap would pass Intel? Amazing. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, I want a suggestion from you how profitable it will be to set up an educational system, kind of like what you did in Africa. Yeah. So what I'm doing in Africa right now with one of my amazing students, Vital, who graduated from my MBA program last year, his family, is I'm building schools. And we're finally getting going because of COVID. It took a while. And I'm using a lot of the proceeds from my profits to fund that as well. So if you go to projectmagoo.org, you can learn more about this, right? And so, and Matt, my chief creative officer, did a great job making this, and Vital's a great guy, right? So anyway, we're doing fine. We raised a bunch of money. I've contributed the most of it myself, and I'll keep doing it. I'll keep reinvesting my profits from my business here in that. Yeah. And my goal is basically, and if you want, you can watch my TEDx talk from 5 years ago, where I talk about how I think every problem in the world can be solved by TEA, technology, education, and acceptance. And 5 years ago in my speech, I talked about how eventually space pioneers like Elon Musk are going to be able to beam unfiltered internet access using satellites. Like before the technology exists, I kind of predict it, but anyone could have predicted it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have solar on the roof of our schools in Rwanda. And then eventually we're going to get internet for free. And I will pull that card with Elon. I can get to him, but I got one card to do it. And then eventually we'll replicate our business plan, our business model, after I'll make a lot of mistakes like I always do. And then I'll get Bill and Melinda involved. And I met Bill Gates a couple times. I got maybe 1 or 2 cards to get to him again. And we'll replicate it so the whole world can use it. Yeah. So should be fun. But it's not for profit though, yeah. Okay. goodness, lot of questions here today. This is great. Okay. All right. And Vishwesh wrote, thanks for such an insight. You're most welcome. Thank you. You wrote, doing your course on investment banking. Thank you. Thank you. And Mr. Andrews is saying, hey, Chris, you mentioned several websites on different weeks on your weekly websites. Is there a place where you visually put them for us to remember, or you just have to take copious notes? Yeah. So whenever you go to my website and I tell you the name of I'm going to just go to harounventures.com and it's all lowercase. So schedule is for the schedule after it. Crypto is for my cryptocurrency computer, and always lowercase. Yeah. Give me one second. All right. All right, next up, Samantha is saying, I'd love to learn your time management strategy. You seem to be able to do so much and create so many things in terms of courses. I'd like to know your strategy. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it is, and I've made a lot of mistakes, but a lot of it comes down to multitasking. I always do a couple things at once. So I've actually, on the floor here, I've got a treadmill, and I walk 30,000 steps every single day. Right? That's like 15 or 20 miles. And what happens is this. So when you first wake up in the morning and you study, that first hour of studying, you're fresh and you absorb a lot of stuff. And then later in the day, you fade. And you remember back in school when you tried to cram at night, it never works, because 1 hour when you wake up of studying is the same thing as 10 hours at night when you're tired. But when you exercise while you're working or studying, what you're doing is your brain's taking in a lot of oxygen, and this thing is rewarding this thing. So you're able to absorb a lot more information and be a gazillion times more productive than your competition because you're exercising at the same time. And so I recommend for everyone to get a cheap treadmill below their desk if you can. And you won't even realize it, but 20 or 30,000 steps will go by. You won't realize it. And as I mentioned earlier, I do not have a chair in this office. And there's a reason why. I want to get my steps in. Yeah. But you also got to do what you're passionate about. Okay, cool. And then Mike is saying, hey, Chris, can someone make money as a day trader? Most likely no in the long run. And the worst thing that can happen is you go into a casino the first time and you make money. And you think, oh, wow, I can replicate this. But the odds are against you. Always. And trading it's so hard. And there are a lot of people that have just started trading that have never done it before. But we have to keep in mind that what's happened over the past year in the markets, it's a one-off. Like the market's not usually this good, right? It's not usually this good. And you can't make money every month trading because every month has 20 weekdays, meaning 20 trading days when the equity markets are open and random stuff occurs. Stocks go up or down for reasons outside of your control, like geopolitical events, etc. And you're fooled by randomness, which is a great book by Nassim Taleb. Yeah. And also, we don't know the names of successful day traders. You know why? Because they don't exist. Find me a successful day trader that's made money for decades. But you can find lots of people that have done well investing in stocks for the long term, like Peter Lynch or Warren Buffett or many others. And what kills me is I get so much spam comments on my YouTube, my vlogs from people trying to scam other people with WhatsApp, that sort of thing, with cryptos and stocks and that sort of thing. Yeah. And what kills me is people that create these trading platforms and try to make money off of people trading on their platforms. Well, if it was really that good, would they really let other people trade in their platforms? So just be a long-term investor, because as Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. Yeah. Okay, and Om Gupta wrote, "You're one of the great teachers." Oh, thank you. And you wrote, "Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for being here. Without all of you, this would not be possible. Thank you." All right. Gosh Emmanuel said, "Hi Chris, I'm a student at your Haroun MBA program. Thank you. I appreciate. I hope you're enjoying it. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee as well, 100% money-back guarantee. So you can binge watch the whole thing, and get it back within 30 days if you want to." Next up, AUM Shanti wrote, "Thank you, Chris, for everything. I'm in your silver program. How do you change from silver to gold? Thanks." Yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, so anybody that signs up for silver gets a discount on gold. And getting into gold and platinum, it's first come, first serve. So the platinum and gold version starts. It starts every January now, right? So whatever money you spent on this one here, you get a discount for here or here if you want to. It's first come, first serve. And then, these start next January 10th of 2022. The silver, you can sign up today. Yeah. Okay. All right. And next up, Manas wrote, "You used artificial walls in your YouTube course, which were beautiful. How did you get it? I like that thing in that course. By the way, your background today is awesome. It's matching. Thank you. Yeah. So the way and you wrote with your shirt, you're looking dope. Thank you. Yeah. Groovy. Thanks. So the way that I did that background in my complete YouTube course was green screen. I don't like green screen though, and I never want to use green screen again. And the reason is because when you use green screen, if you move around a bunch, you'll see that between your fingers, it looks unnatural. And even in the Captain America movie from 2011, there's one scene, I remember it, the shield, the shield for Captain America, you could see green on the side. And so what Disney Plus or The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau pioneered with The Mandalorian is not using green screens. What he does is he uses a short throw projector, which is what I have as well, but I have to tweak it to get it working perfectly. And let me show you what that means. So what I'm going to do is let me just turn off these lights back here. And I'll turn on this projector behind me as well. It'll warm up in a second. And this projector, there we go. There, it's on behind me there. Yeah, this projector here. And let me go back a couple of slides here. Yeah, so it's actually not a green screen, right? This is an actual projector. And so let me just go back here. It's a short throw projector, and these projectors, they only have to be 6 inches away from the wall, right? So right here, it's unbelievable. And so I'm playing around with this right now. I've got a special screen. I have to tweak a bunch of things first before it looks lifelike. But we're getting there. And this is part of the whole. And these are some of the slides I showed at the beginning of today's lecture. We're getting there. Yeah. I got to figure out the light a little bit better. And I have the lighting coming in like this. And the way that it works is I have these honeycombs, right, on my lights on each side, so it doesn't spill into the screen behind me. Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens here. Let me actually go forward, and maybe I'll leave that on and just with a blue background here. Give me 1 second. And I use pedals for everything here. Here we go. Okay, good. Yeah, this is kind of nice. We'll stick with this for a bit. All right. Okay, cool. And then Pearl said she likes my quote, "If you build it, they will come." It's true. And I got that from a movie called Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner. It's an oldie but a goodie. Yeah. I love James Earl Jones too. It's my favorite. Okay. Ask and you'll receive. And then Ghosh wrote that the Haroun MBA program is cool. Thank you. Manas is saying, "I got a quote for the day. If you've got what you wanted, God gave you that too. But if you didn't get what you wanted, God took it because you never needed it." Thought of the day. Yeah. The way I think about things, and the reason why I don't ever worry when it comes to careers or business, is because I tell myself, God already knows what's going to happen. And that gives me peace of mind. And there's a famous quote from Winston Churchill. And he said that, "I once met a man who on his deathbed talked about all the worries he had in his life, none of which came true." And for me, my perceived failures in hindsight, I'm so happy that it happened because it guided me down a different path in life. It happens for a reason. And you might not all understand that right now in your lives if you've had setbacks career-wise. But years from now, you'll look back and you'll be so grateful to God You were sent down a different path. Perception becomes reality. Okay. Manostro, what are your thoughts on Clubhouse not bringing out an Android version? I think they're losing millions a week. What are your thoughts? I mean, it obviously makes sense to be on both platforms from a total addressable market perspective. Yeah. Yeah. And I can monitor my students, which ones watch on iOS and Android. 80% of my students, when they watch this webcast, and all my webcasts, they use Android, not iOS. Yeah. Okay. And JP wrote, Cardano could be the next Google. Yeah, I've done a lot of research on it. Yeah. Samantha is saying, I think it was Steve Jobs that said, if you never ask, you never get. It's true, and it's prophetic, and it's been true since the beginning of time. You know, ask and you'll receive. You know, it's like my kids. They're relentless, especially this little munchkin here. They ask over and over and over again. And then you get older and you stop asking. That's why you don't get. You got to keep asking. You got to be relentless. Yeah. But there's tactful ways to do it too. All right. And when you're selling, you got to tell yourself, all I heard was not no. And no means not yet. Yeah. But one other thing when you're selling, I gotta mention is when you sense that the person you're selling to is interested in the product, stop talking immediately. Because what happens is if you keep talking, keep selling, you sell past the close and you lose the sale. Because the person on the other side of the table, when you're trying to sell them something, when you sense they're interested, if you keep selling, this is what they're going to think. Gosh, I like this product, but why does he keep selling it? Am I missing something? Why am I so lucky to be given this opportunity? I'm not buying. All right. And Manos wrote, Apple is killing innocent innovation now. It just launched the new Mac. Do you think Apple is going to suffer because although it's profitable today, there's no Steve Jobs left now? What are your thoughts? Yeah. I mean, I do think, look, I think it's a very well-run company. And I do believe in everything it stands for. But I do think that innovation is kind of grinded to a halt. I mean, it's cool they're making thinner versions, smaller versions of product, bigger versions of products, etc. But there's nothing groundbreaking since Steve Jobs moved on. Yeah. But I got to say, man, those new iMacs look dope, right? In different colors. And they're so thin. It looks like a big iPad. And they should make iPads all those colors too. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Siddharth said, what are your views on trading options versus investments? Yeah. So options are different because when you invest in something, you're trying to make money in the long run. When you use options, it might be for two reasons. Number one, you're trying to make money, or number two, you're trying to protect your money, right? And that's why they call hedge funds, because in your backyard, you have a hedge that protects your backyard. It protects your capital. Yeah. And if you want to play around with options, what I recommend doing is go and download this for free. It's called Thinkorswim. It's made by TD Ameritrade. And you can have a simulated portfolio. Right. And so I've got a pretend portfolio here. And these are options for Coca-Cola. Right. These are calls. These are puts. These are in the money, out of the money, that sort of thing. But I would play around with it that way. But options don't have to be short term. You can buy long term options called leaps as well. And the size of the global derivatives market, meaning options, futures, swaps, etc., is $600 trillion. And the size of the total stock market in every country in the world, all stocks added up, the value is less than 100 trillion. So options is bigger than you think. Yeah. It's fun too. And I'm going to demystify the whole process and make it enjoyable for everybody. Yeah. All right. Next up, Pearl is saying, hey, Chris, is it possible to invest in foreign stock markets? Is it worth it? And what's the possible red tape? Yeah, you can do it. So what you can do is in a lot of markets, you can buy foreign stocks on that particular market. So, for example, in the United States, you can invest in a German software company called SAP, and that's called an ADR, or an American Depository Receipt. So a lot of companies that have have headquarters in foreign countries and their stocks are listed on their own markets, also have dual listings in different markets. You could do that. If you wanted to invest directly in other markets, you want to make sure that your brokerage service obviously allows it. And you also want to make sure that what you're trading is very, very liquid, meaning a lot of shares trade every day. So you can get in and out if need be. And you also have to be mindful of foreign exchange exposure, FX exposure. And that's why a lot of companies use options or derivative instruments when it comes to hedging their FX exposure, which I'll talk about in a lot more detail in my upcoming options course. Yeah. All right. Next up, Dennis is saying, would you say about yourself that you are introverted, ambiverted, or extroverted? Yeah. I'd say somewhere in the middle. I don't know, man. Like when I was younger, I was more introverted. And I remember being a programmer years ago, and I loved coding. It was fun, man. And I remember like 10 hours would go by, and I'd be in this zone, and I'd be drinking Jolt Cola. I'm dating myself, that's before Red Bull. And I'd be coding. And then what would happen is I would go to a party, and I'd start to feel a little bit uncomfortable, to be intellectually honest, talking to people, because I was kind of heads down coding. And when that happens to you, whenever you're uncomfortable in any situation in life or in business, you got to run to your fear. You got to run to your fear and condition yourself to enjoy that fear. If you're fearful of public speaking, run towards it. Take a risk. Condition yourself to love it, because your competition won't. If you're fearful of accounting and options and finance, whatever, run towards it. Embrace it. Condition yourself to enjoy it, because your competition won't. So I'd say that now I'm a little bit more extroverted, definitely, than when I was younger. Yeah. It's also because I don't care what people think of me. Yeah. And you got to be the same way too. You got to say, I just don't care what people think of me. Yeah. And I say it in a good way with love in my heart. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manoj saying, great piece of advice. I must tell you, you're no less than a polite assassin in closing the deal. Thank you. I got to play a new Assassin's Creed too. It's on my list. I'm playing MLB The Show, which I played last night against my son, which is it's amazing. And the new like that, it's so cool because the PS5. I'm a nerd, I know, but the controller, and this is just a customized one. I don't know if you can see it for Haroun Education Ventures. Matte Black's my favorite color. The controller is so amazing because you feel the vibrations all over in different places when you're playing the game. It's cool. It's cool. All right. Rudy is saying, will you be leaving California to Texas or Florida soon? It's tough. I mean, I refer to this as the left coast sometimes because taxes are so damn high. And I'm glad that Oracle and a bunch of companies are talking about moving to Texas because it keeps Gavin Newsom and our governor, in check, basically saying, don't raise taxes too much, please. I've thought about it. I love Florida. I'm buying real estate there, and yeah. I don't know yet. I don't know. I want to do a lot of corporate headquarters here in the Bay Area for my show, and also have CEOs here in my studio here, my house. We'll see. But Tony Robbins moved from California to Florida because of taxes as well. Yeah. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, COVID is blasting India right now. I saw that. Yeah. And 300,000 people are going down with it. Do you think it'll affect the whole world and that the economy and trade patterns? How would coaching business get through this? Yeah. I hope it. Like the United States has, I got to say Biden from a bipartisan perspective. He's done a great job. 200 million people have been vaccinated, but America has several hundred million extra vaccinations. And I think it's just a matter of time until America shares it with the rest of the world. The thing about America is that, there's a lot of companies that make the vaccine here. So of course, there's lots of vaccines here. You look at Canada, for example, there's no pharmaceutical company that makes a vaccine. So they have to rely on others. And so hopefully it becomes a massive export market and we all share America with the rest of the world, the excess doses that we have. Yeah. And this stuff it still hasn't been FDA approved or really clinical trials. So I got my first Pfizer shot in my arm last week, and it still hurts a bit today. Like, it's weird. Like, it hasn't. And when I was sitting there, and they make you sit down for 15 minutes after you get the first shot, just in case you have allergic reactions, which I didn't. But I read through the documentation, right, like the fine print, and they don't know what the side effects are yet, right? Within reason, they don't know. Right. And it hasn't been approved, FDA approved, and clinical trials haven't been thorough yet. But what's the alternative? And so the CEO of Pfizer recently said that you're going to have to get an extra boost shot every year if you get the Pfizer one. And J&J, we know the downside already there. Yeah. And with the blood clotting and whatnot. I got my second dose in another week or two. Now, I got my first dose on April 15th, which was the first day that anybody in America could get it. And I refused to do it before then. They said that you can get it if you're a teacher before then, but I'm not a real teacher. The teacher heroes are the ones on the front line. I'm just some dude on television here. In terms of your question on the coaching business and the impact, I think that the new digital reality is we can all, work from home. We don't have to travel as much to work. Of course, it's good to be in an office every now and then, but the whole world has proven that we can function working from home in many industries, not all. Yeah. All right, next up, Augustia is saying, Chris, what's your opinion on valuing small private tech companies using multiples like price per page views or price per unique visitors, especially when Facebook in 2004 had zero revenue and zero profit? Yeah. So the way that it works with tech companies in general is it's all about subscribers. That's what matters, because like the movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. Right? If you get a big enough marketplace of users, eventually you'll monetize it. And so, for example, Evan Spiegel from Snapchat, years ago, he was up in the Bay Area trying to raise money. And a lot of venture capital firms met with him. They're like, I don't get it. Why do I want to lose pictures of my kids? And then eventually, a year or two later, Evan came back and said, remember me? I've got 6 million subscribers. And the venture capitalists, the same ones, were saying, oh my God, that's the best business model ever. And so what matters is it's a land grab always. You want to get as many customers or subscribers, subs, as possible, and monetize it later. It's always the way it's worked. It's always the way it's worked. And people look at a lot of different metrics to see how active subscribers or users are. Okay, they call it MAU and DAU. Monthly active users, daily active users, that sort of thing. And you monetize it later always. And so, for example, with Facebook, when they bought Instagram for next to nothing in 2011, right? It's like $1 billion, which is nothing. When they bought Instagram, they left it alone. Zuck left Instagram alone for about a decade and let them grow the number of subscribers materially. And then eventually they rebranded it as Instagram as a Facebook company. And they're doing the same thing with WhatsApp. And I have friends that work for Zuck in both the Instagram group and WhatsApp. And with WhatsApp, he's leaving them alone. They can do whatever they want, grow subs as much as possible, and then monetize it later. It's a smart way to do it. And as critical as I am of Zuck and Facebook in general, for all the political meddling in elections issues, I got to say Facebook does a stellar job when it comes to acquiring companies. They let them grow, and then they monetize later. Yeah. And so what you look at in the early days is the number of subscribers. And before there's earnings, you look at price to revenue, right? Which basically means it's like price divided by earnings, except price divided by revenue means for every $1 in revenue you have, how many times that dollar are investors paying for that company? And you look at similar companies to find out what the comparable companies are trading at from a price to revenue perspective. And then eventually in the long run, when you build out your financial model, then you look at price to earnings and other metrics. Yeah. All right. And Manas wrote, MVP baseball. I never understood baseball, the game, but I love the way people play it. It's like cricket, except like in cricket, you can get a 6 if you hit it anywhere over the fence. In baseball, it has to be between lines. Yeah. Manasra, I never understood the game, but I love the way people play it. A quote, every strike brings me closer to the next home run, from Babe Ruth. It's true. It's true. I love baseball, man. Yeah. My favorite movie is The Natural with Robert Redford. All right, next up, Himanshu wrote here, how do you start a successful financial advisory firm in India? Yeah. So I would say first of all, because there's a lot of regulation included in every single country, talk to a lawyer first. Okay. Never give any financial advice, meaning telling people exactly what financial instruments to buy or sell without getting registered first. In America, you have to become a broker dealer. In different countries, they call it different stuff. Talk to a lawyer first. Then when it comes to getting customers, it's all about networking, right? And so if you want, you can take my complete financial analyst course, which you can find right here to learn about finance and investing. And then you can take my my complete job course to learn about networking as well, because relationships are more important than product knowledge. And most jobs in finance, actually, people don't realize this, but most jobs in finance are actually sales-oriented jobs. Yeah. All right. Next up, Craig is saying, why are you mining Ethereum? Bitcoin will raise its block size after a certain amount have been found. Costs too much to mine for very little return. Suppose something is better than nothing while you can. Yeah. So if you want to mine Bitcoin, you can't use a customized computer like this one here. You actually have to get what's called an ASIC. Right, and an ASIC basically does one thing well. In that, and with ant miners, which are ASICs for mining Bitcoin, Litecoin, other cryptos, those are expensive, and they only do one thing. With this thing, I can mine many different cryptos, and all you do is you just download software from Nanopool and run it that way. Very profitable. Yeah. Okay. And let's see how much money I've made today. And it's just for educational purposes, right? But if we go to my crypto machine here, let's go to, first of all, go to my website here, /crypto. And then let's click here. It's for, educational purposes, right? So here it's, we're almost at $100, maybe a couple bucks today, whatever. But also if the price of Ethereum moves up, you make more, that sort of thing. And eventually, once I get up to 0.2 of an ether here, and I'm almost 20% of the way there, then it gets sent directly to my Coinbase Ether wallet. Yeah, and that's my public key right there. It's fun, huh? All right. Next up, Dennis is saying, sorry that I asked so many questions. No, please. And you wrote, this is the last question. No. This is all about the student. Ask as many questions as you want. Always, please. Okay. What would you recommend teens when they want to network? Because it's hard for a teenager to travel everywhere or even be taken seriously. Yeah, I think you can do internships as a teenager. There's no reason you can't. You start in the mailroom or do other tasks. You can do it. You can do it. And all you got to do when you network using LinkedIn, do an advanced search and find people that went to your school. If teenagers reach out to me that went to schools I went to, and I help them out. Yeah. But usually the person that gets a job is the person that knows someone at the company. Like just applying for a job because you see a job opening online, it's futile because thousands of other people do. You have to also network in that company using LinkedIn and the methodologies I teach you in my complete job course, in order to get a leg up in the competition. Yeah. Because relationships are more important than product knowledge. Your network is your net worth. Okay. All right, next up, Luigi wrote, hello, Chris. I hope you're doing great. Likewise. I'm enjoying the MBA degree program. Cheers. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's funny, anybody that's got a little brother or little sister that grew up in the 90s, your little brother or little sister is always Luigi and you're Mario. When you're playing, you know what I'm talking about, when you're playing NES, Nintendo. Yeah. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Next up, hey, D'Angelo. D'Angelo said, good morning, Chris. Good morning, dude. Loving the shirt. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do you have a favorite site for valuing the worth of cards beyond eBay? I have cards for the 1993 Topps collection. Yeah. The most valuable card you've got is the Derek Jeter rookie from that year. Yeah. Thank God you have 93 because 92 and 94 were awful years. And the problem is the Topps Corporation produced so many cards at that point, and so did Upper Deck, Fleer, Donruss, that almost the entire sector went bankrupt except for Topps, right? Topps consolidated the space. So any baseball cards from before the 80s or before, they can be worth a lot. But let me show you exactly what to do. And what I'm going to show you is generic enough to apply to everybody in the world for any collectible you might have. Okay. So what you do, and I am going to go to eBay. I know you said other than eBay, but I'm going to show you why in a sec. So what you do is this. You go to eBay, and then let me just get rid of my face in the corner so you guys can see a little bit more. Thanks. All right. Yeah. So you go to eBay, and then you search. So for example, PSA 10, 1993. Jeter. Okay, it's got to be in perfect condition though. Okay, that's Derek Jeter rookie. Here it is, right? There should be. Here it is. Here. Yeah. Then what you do? Don't look at the listings. Go down here first and select ones that have been sold items. Okay, this will help you value your card. Okay, then you look to see what it's worth. Okay, so this here hasn't been graded, right? So it only got sold for $40, right? This one here got rated 10 out of 10, PSA 10, right? But you have Topps. This is Pinnacle. So let's keep going down here. And hold on a second. Yeah, let me change this to Topps. Sorry about that. Give me a second. Yeah. So these are ones that sold Jeter rookies. Here it is here. Okay. Yeah. My God, look at the prices. Okay. So if your Jeter rookie is in perfect condition, meaning PSA 10 out of 10, it's worth $1,000. Okay. Between $900 and $1,000. This is the market has spoken. And these are ones that have sold, right? Now, in order to find out if your card is PSA 10, meaning perfect, you have to mail it into a company called PSA Card. But they've got a backlog right now of 10 million submissions, right? But anyway, just go here and you can check out pricing and the population report, meaning how many people have graded certain cards, etc. And I could talk about this forever if you want. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. And Gregor wrote, thanks for the response. It's great we can interact with you. Thank you. And Harshit is saying, love from India. Love right back to you. Thank you. All right. Next up, Manas is saying, my dear mentor, I was thinking if a 99-year-old man and his 5-year-old great-great-grandson start a company, according to your concept, the company will be relevant until the 5-year-old leaves the company. Yeah, if you're that long-term focused, yeah. And as Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. Yeah, and when I worked at Goldman Sachs years ago, they used to train us to be long-term greedy. You know, always put the customer first, but be very, very long-term focused. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Harshit wrote, how do you come up with a good business model? Yeah. So you want to look for a company that has a product that's going to be way more relevant in the long run. You also want to make sure that the size of the market is massive. Don't ever start a company in a tiny market. Start them in massive markets. So if you're right, you can make a lot of money. But there's so many other criteria as well. And if you're interested, what you can do is sign up right here for my complete business plan course, which will help you write a business plan. Yeah. And if you don't like it, with all my courses and my MBA program and everything, 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. Always. All right. All right, and Craig wrote, I like what Mr. Cardone said about posting content. If you don't get annoyed and delete subscriptions, you haven't done it enough. Yeah. Dude, it's tough. It's tough. Like, what I've done is, so I've got a massive email list. And we used to email everybody for my weekly call. And then I think about 8 months ago, we basically said, screw that. We're only going to email 10% of people. Right? So I barely email anybody every week compared to what I used to. And the reason is because it's quite complicated, but if you send out a lot of emails and they don't get opened, right? If the open rate is low, Google penalizes you, right? So that your emails become spam. And so it's tough. And I use a program called Active Campaign, which is like MailChimp on steroids for all this stuff. And I have a great company called Ziggy Media that I work with in Toronto, where I'm from. Helping out with this as well. They're dope. All right. And by the way, if you want to get rid of pesky emails, just search your inbox for the word unsubscribe. And do that weekly. And then just, gut all the unsubscribed ones. All right. Okay. And then next up, Mar wrote, hello, fellow Canadian. Thank you, Mar. Good to see you. What do you think about Canada going from 26th most in debt to number 2 most in debt ahead of Greece? There were so many generous checks given to us. Yeah. I look, one of the problems with, and I'm just getting my one of my meals here. So this is kale juice I make on Sunday, and this is just my greatest hits of other stuff. Look, I'm proud to be Canadian. I am. But I think one of the problems with Canada, and I wish they could amend the Constitution, is that there are no term limits. You know, I'm not saying America is perfect, but at least there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can't be president for more than 8 years. You know, the issue with Canada, and we saw this with Trudeau's father, Pierre Trudeau, is you can be prime minister forever. And so you tend to, if you want to stay in power forever, you don't think about legacy. You know, if you're in the United States, for example, and you're president for 8 years max, you think about legacy. You're like, okay, I'm not going to be president after 8 years. So I want my legacy to be this. I want to make I don't know, like JFK created NASA or put a person on the moon, whatever it is. So what Pierre Trudeau did, back in the 70s and 80s, whatever, was he wanted to stay in power forever. And so you don't think about legacies. And so you just think about give, overtax I'm going to be careful what I say here, overtax certain people so you can give the big voting population a lot of stuff. And the second you start taking away that stuff, you're not going to get reelected. You don't think about legacies. And so I think that there should be a change to the Constitution in Canada so that there are term limits. Otherwise, what happens is you can have a mediocre prime minister in power for way too long. Yeah. Which I think, I don't think Trudeau should be prime minister. Yeah. And don't do what I did with politics, please. Like, don't when you're at work or whatever it is, don't talk politics because you're going to piss off half the people. And if you're Canadian and I pissed you off, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. But go out and buy a red hat that says, make Trudeau a drama teacher again. Yeah. I'm just kidding. All right. But it breaks my heart seeing what's happening in Canada with COVID. Just how mismanaged the whole process has been, and really breaks my heart. And I really hope that America can help. And apparently Biden spoke to Trudeau the other day about potentially helping as well, because America has a massive excess of vaccines. And from a bipartisan perspective, let's call a spade a spade. You know, Biden's done a great job. Yeah. All right. Next up, Omar wrote, I want to study something online. But I don't know what. I'm in product management, and I also do data analysis in Excel. I love that. So do I. It's fun, eh? At some point, I want to take your MBA or data analysis. How do I decide? Yeah. So I expose you to a lot of different careers in the MBA degree program. I feel like I'm a waiter with hopefully half decent food. And, you know, when you go to a restaurant, you choose one main course. Right. So I expose you to all main courses or types of jobs. And whatever feels like you're passionate about, then that should be your job. Now, you mentioned data analysis, which is fun. I'm going to read between the lines here. So what I want you to do is, instead of taking my MBA degree program, I want you to take courses on data analysis from Kirill. He's a great teacher on Udemy. And learn about that sort of thing. Or Maverick. Chris, I think Maverick is named his Excel courses. You can take his Excel courses on Udemy if you want to as well. I love Excel. If you want to learn about data analysis in Excel, you can take my complete financial analyst course if you want to. And if it feels like fun, then that's your job for life. Because as Confucius said, find an occupation you enjoy and you'll never have a job for the rest of your life. Yeah. All right. Next up, Raghav wrote, "Hey Chris, please make a course on how to build a financial model, step-by-step guide." I have that. Yeah. So the course is called the Complete Financial Analyst Training and Investing Course. Yeah. And by the way, I will be announcing the winner of the MBA thing in a couple seconds. Yeah. All right. All right, next up, Irene. Hey, Irene, my mom's middle name is Irene as well. Irene wrote, "Hi, Chris. Your learning system and thinking are just great. Thank you. I'm sure your MBA program strongly allows building a business mindset. I'd love to participate. Hopefully, one day this dream comes true. Thank you. I appreciate it. And there's always a 100% money back guarantee. So you can sign up, take it for 30 days or less than 30 days, get your money back. No questions asked. Yeah, thank you. Cassandra, how are you?" And I think this is the same Cassandra who goes by the nickname Tiger Glory in my MBA program. If not, sorry. But Cassandra wrote, if you would be a CIO for a university, how would you revolutionize the IT internally to make operations smooth and at a low cost, and also make students love the tech tools? Ideas only. Yeah. I would say gone are all forms of client-server bloatware, which still run in a lot of universities. It's bizarre. Yeah. And I would make everything web-based. And I would design for mobile always, because mobile has and always will be the desktop of the future. That's what I would say. And instead of developing in-house, I would outsource everything. Yeah. That's what I would say. Okay. And students would love the tech tools if everything is mobile enabled as well. Yeah. And I also set it up so that students don't have to attend class in person. They can watch replays like I do online with my MBA degree program as well, so that they can learn on their own terms from anywhere based on any form factor that they want to use, which is how I teach. Yeah. All right. Omar wrote, "I found your Udemy course about improving your LinkedIn profile. Great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing so much knowledge. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you." All right. Next up, Steve wrote, "Hi, Chris. Please, I just bought an ebook franchise. I already have few strategies to scale the business, which I'm working hard on. I need your thoughts on this kind of business. Thanks always." Yeah, the best thing I can recommend is write a thorough business plan first. And failing to plan is planning to fail. And so you can check out my complete business plan course. As with all my courses, there's a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee. And that will help you crystallize your thought process to the extent that you can maximize returns with this business. And also, by writing a business plan first, it might actually change the way you think about execution with this company, so to speak. Yeah. And when it comes to franchises, you always want to hire a lawyer as well. You can go to LegalZoom.com and have a lawyer read through the documentation you sign, just to make sure that there's no issues you're overlooking. For example, back in the 1990s, I thought about buying a Subway restaurant, and I looked into the contract closely. And Subway, if your restaurant's very successful, your franchise, they can open another one within a mile or so of where you're located. Just make sure you read the tea leaves or hire a lawyer to do so. Yeah. Okay, next up we got Paul. Paul wrote, "I intend to do the GMAT for the MBA and get into Columbia just like you." Cool. What classes do you recommend for the GMAT and having a complete profile to get into the best business school for my profile? Yeah, so I have a course on Udemy called How to Get into the Top MBA Programs. Right, and I made that years ago. It's a short course, only half an hour. Take that. What I recommend is two things, though. Okay, so for the GMAT's not an intelligence test, which is why I did really well on it. It's not an intelligence test. It's how you study for it and how you think about it. So I want you to take the Princeton Review course for the GMAT and nothing else. Okay, and you can take it over and over again with them for free once you pay, and just work hard on anybody. I studied hard for the GMAT than anybody in the world. A lot of people. I'm not that smart, so I did well, whatever, because I knew all the tricks. So take Princeton Review. In terms of the book, I want you to read a book for essays. Write this down, by Carpenter and Carpenter. It's a husband and wife team, and that book is called Marketing Yourself to the Top Business Schools. Okay, and that will help you with your essays. I also want you to apply by September 1st at the latest, because what happens is it's rolling admissions with all universities. If people that apply early, have a higher chance of getting in, because if you apply by April, what happens is the class is almost full. Check out that course on Udemy though for more details. Thank you, and good luck. Yeah. All right. And then Patrick wrote, "Thanks for the insightful session. I'm learning a lot. Thank you." And then Vivav said, "Are you watching Billions?" Yeah, I've seen every episode. Yeah, and it's very accurate. The district attorney stuff with Paul Giamatti is bogus. It's not real. Although that character is based in real life on Preet Bharara, who convicted and went after successfully 72 of the 74 or so hedge funds he went after. But Billions, the character, I know who it's based on. Like the guy Brody from Homeland, whatever his name is in real life. I know who it's based on. I know what hedge fund that's based on as well. And a lot of things people say in that show, I know exactly who those characters are. It is beautifully researched. They've done a great job with it. And it just shows you how crooked and corrupt the hedge fund industry is. Not all hedge funds, but a bunch of them are. Yeah. But I enjoy it. Yeah. Okay. Next, hey Fred, how are you, man? Fred wrote, "How can we best survive in an environment where office politics is very common at the workplace?" Yeah. So I would just say that, I would never gossip at work. Like if you gossip, people are at first they're going to be interested. Like, what? Yeah, I want to hear about it, but they won't trust you. So I would just stay away from that. I would also find mentors that understand the corporate culture. And the best mentors you can find for that is your boss's assistant. Because your boss's assistant has been with her or him for years at different companies probably. And they know how decisions get made. And they'll love the fact you're asking for their advice too. And you want to find mentors as well in your department and in other departments as well to guide you. And when you start working at a new company, every company has a different culture. And so for the first 6 months or so, yeah, you want to be proactive, whatever, and network a bunch, but kind of sit back and observe first how the culture works before doing something, right? Before trying to put your flag in the ground, so to speak. Because every corporate culture is a bit different. Yeah. Okay. Next question is, will the United States economy grow now? And will it affect the Dow Jones growth? Yeah. So the Dow Jones is it's 30 stocks that broadly recommend that represents the United States economy. And when the economy grows, it doesn't mean the market goes up, right? Sometimes when a country's in a recession, the market can start going up before the economy is improving, because markets tend to forecast what's going to happen 6 to 12 months in the future. Now, when it comes to the United States economy in general, it'll never grow more than a couple percent. And it's not their fault. It's just the law of large numbers. You know, the United States economy is about 1/3 or close to it of the revenue on this planet, meaning 1/3 of GDP. And whenever you got a very, very big entity, it's just the law of large numbers. It can't grow as fast anymore. All right. Next up, Anurag is saying, "Hey, Chris, you can allow a chair in your office, seating back at your chair, rock solid. You look cool, sir. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I got rid of the chair though because I was getting criticized by people that were whatever that I was sounded tired, whatever. Yeah. And I worked my butt off last year, but I can't slow down. I love doing what I'm doing. So yeah, no chair in this room ever. Yeah." I probably need to cut my hair as well. It's getting kind of long, huh? All right. And I will announce in a couple of minutes before the end of this call, we're about to end the call, who the winner is. Okay. All right. Next up, hey, Jose, how are you? Jose, I hope you're doing well, man. So Jose graduated from my MBA program last year. He's a great guy. He's from Venezuela. He and his wife have a 7-year-old daughter. You lived in Brooklyn in the house. You had a payments company. I think you moved to Texas. I hope that's going well for you, man. Don't mess with Texas. Yeah. I hope you're watching Friday Night Lights as well. Great show. So Jose wrote, "Hi, Chris. So glad to be here again. Great to see you. Thank you for all you've done for us. Best teacher I've ever had. Thank you. I'm currently working on shifting a business to prospective clients online. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. And if I can be resourceful in any way, humbly, to help you be even more successful, please let me know. That's why I'm here. Thank you. It's great to see you, brother. All right. Patrick wrote, thanks for the Google alert. Well noted, sir. You're most welcome. And then Manas wrote, somebody recently wrote this for me. Hey, you're a weird person. I hate you because you're greedy. That's not nice of them. I never see a more greedy person. I hate you. Wow, that's not very nice. And then you wrote here, I laughed like hell. What a great criticism, because unjustified criticism is a disguised compliment. I love that. You're right. You're right, dude. And if you're not getting criticized, you're not successful enough. Yeah. You're right. When somebody criticizes you, you just tell yourself unjustified criticism is a disguised compliment. They're so insecure. So they're complimenting you. So thank you. So bring it on, doubters. That's what you got to think. Yeah. All right. Next up, Paul wrote, yeah, Paul, for your question there, I think that's similar to the one I answered earlier. Just take that course I have on getting into the top business schools. Yeah, it'll help. Yeah. All right. Jose said, Chris, are you still using Wirecast for your? I am. Yeah. And so Wirecast, and I teach my students, my MBA program, how to use Wirecast, as well as how to use free alternatives for doing what I'm doing, meaning OBS, which stands for Open Broadcasting Software, as well as OBS Streamlabs, as well as Twitch. Yes, I do a Twitch stream as well in the MBA program. And so Wirecast, this is basic broadcasting software. It's okay. They wanted to do a profile on me. I'm not going to do it though, because I am somewhat critical of their products. It's a good product, but what pissed me off is the second that COVID hit, they raised prices. It's not cool. Not cool at all. Yeah. In fact, what I did when COVID hit last year was all my students, I gave them all, I gave away 1 million courses in a period of 2 days. Yeah. A lot of customer support questions. We were answering that. Yeah. All right. And then next up, Ram wrote, I took your MBA course program out of curiosity with no expectation to stay on for more than 10 minutes. Needless to say, I stayed the course and completed it. Nice, dude. Thank you. Educational, and inspirational. Thank you. I appreciate it. We have a lot of fun here. And then next up, Ram said, do you see NFTs going mainstream, especially outside of the arts domain like music? Yeah. I think it's going to impact all aspects of collectibles. I do. So, not just art, but also cards, like the baseball card market. And if anybody can tell me what I'm about to show you, whoever tells me what this is wins the MBA. Okay. But only answer if you haven't bought the MBA. You ready? Okay. Let me switch over to a better camera angle. And the first person to answer this gets, and I'm giving away one version of the MBA degree this week. Let me set the stage here. Ready? You have to tell me who the person is that I'm about to show you. The first person to tell me who this is gets the $999 MBA free today. Okay. We'll see if somebody answers it. And if nobody answers it, I'll ask another question, make it fun as well. All right, let me keep answering questions here. Okay. Mike said Joe Jackson. No, good though. It's not Shoeless Joe. I know you're from Field of Dreams. Nope. It's not Nikolai Tesla, but it does look like him. Wayne Gretzky from Anorak. No, it's not Gretzky. Wagner. Yes. Okay, who it is? No, whoever said Wagner first there. I'm giving it to Adlabe 5. Adlabe 5, you won. It's Honus Wagner. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Honus Wagner. You're right. So I'm giving it to you as well. Yeah. Okay. So whoever Adlib 5 is, you're correct. It's Honus Wagner. Okay. And this card is called the T206. And this card here, it's worth millions of dollars. This is a replica. Obviously, it's worth nothing. And what happened was cigarette companies created the baseball card market. And the reason they did was because packs were soft years ago, apparently. And so if they put a baseball card in, the cigarettes wouldn't bend. Right. And so anyway, yeah. All right. Yeah. No, the first one was Adlib 5, said Wagner. I know what you were writing there, so I'm going to give it to you. All right. And so whoever Adlib 5 is, ADLAIB 5, what you can do is just send me a message over LinkedIn, okay, and let me know your Adlib 5. And then what I'll do is I'll send you a coupon today. So congratulations on getting it. Yeah, that's fun, huh? It's fun. All right, cool. Yeah. This is not a real card though. It's just pretend. Okay. That was fun. Congratulations. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Bonus Wagner, somebody wrote. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Very cool. Congratulations, Adlib 5. Yeah, he wrote, yeah. Nice. It's awesome. Nicely done. The funniest, though, was Nikolai Tesla, because that dude looks like Nikolai Tesla a bit as well. Yeah, cool. Excellent. Well, congratulations. Well, it's 11 a.m. now, and so this call, I'm going to wrap it up right now. Congratulations, Adlib 5. Again, send me a LinkedIn message and I'll give you a coupon for my MBA program for free, the $999 version. I want to thank you all for your time today. This was a lot of fun. And within a couple hours, my wonderful team, what they'll do is they'll take all the questions asked and they will put it in the description field of this YouTube video so you can click and get immediate access. I'd love to see all of you next week again. We'll have even more fun next week. Pardon me. Excuse me. I'm good though. We're gonna have even more fun next week. We're gonna push the goalpost out, make it more interactive, have even more fun. Okay. So again, thanks for your time. If you subscribe to my daily vlog, I'll see you every day at 9 a.m. because that's when my daily vlogs drop. And within the next week, you'll see episode 1000 of my vlog coming out. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you my favorite vlog I've ever done for episode 1000. I'll keep it. You'll see what it is. I don't think you'll be that surprised. And if you don't subscribe to my vlog, God bless y'all. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you next Thursday and every Thursday at 8 a.m. Thank you and God bless. I'll see you. Thank you.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.